Today we're going to be rating the custom Magic the Gathering cards. See how crazy people's imaginations are today. We're going to start off with the Predictive Denial. This is a blue instant. Counter the next spell target opponent casts this turn. Very well templated, I must say. At end of turn, if a spell wasn't countered this way, we get to draw a card. Okay, interesting. As expected, this gives me like pseudo-silence, pseudo-vexing devil vibes. Because it's like, it's giving you the choice. Do you have the choice? Do you want your spell countered right now? Or not counter anything at all and make it like a virtual silence? So it's either like part Arrayo, part silence, but the choice is yours. So you're not actually stopping them from doing anything unless, like, I don't know, the hand is just clunked up with like a bunch of big mana spells and they have no choice. If they got a 0-drop that they can just fire off, or a 1-drop that they don't care about, they'll just throw it away. You exchange your one mana instant with their 1-drop, and then they cast the spell anyway. But it is cheap. Like, it is 1 mana. It's like, either I'm going to exchange this from something in your hand, like a random discard spell, or you cycled it for 1 mana. So it is definitely playable. Definitely doable. I don't know how good it is, though. As expected. As all things, yes, we expect. Okay, Super Chat, starting with Banovsky. Thank you so much for your Super Chat, Banovsky. The Extracting Facility. In the Discord, remember, you can donate to this. You can join my Discord, post your cards in the Custom MTG Cards channel. Make a donation during the show. Give me the name, the title of the post that you made it. We'll look it up and put it on the show, just like Banovsky did. And this is the Extracting Facility. Looks like a factory. Land. When Extracting Facility enters, destroy target land you control. It's a bit of a head scratcher. It's a self-strip mine. Tap, add blue, black, or double black. Then you get a poison counter. This sounds very dangerous to our health around here. You can also tap sacrifice Extracting Facility. You lose all poison counters, then lose that much life. Interesting. So first off, I mean, it's completely legal. I mean, I don't see it as broken, because you do have to destroy target land you control. I mean, you could, in theory, play with the indestructible lands to get the synergy out of this. So play indestructible land, and then and it's basically a soul land. It's a super soul land, but you need to play the indestructible lands in order to make it work. There are enough indestructible lands to make that pointless. Well, I mean, it depends. Let's say you're playing a commander deck. Like, how many of them are viable in your deck? Remember, you got to stick to your color identity. So maybe in the end you have like 4 or something like that. Certainly in Legacy, this will be better. But remember, we already live in a world with soul lands. Oh, but you are making me think now. Would this be broken in one-on-one Magic? There are, like, you get to play with a lot of indestructible lands in that format. A lot of them, yeah, a ton of indestructible artifact lands. It should be destroy target untapped land. Maybe. Oh, I see what you mean. So even in a fair deck, we could, it's like a soul land. Yeah, I see what you mean by that. It has to be like destroy target untapped land. So you blow up the land. Sorry, you play an untapped land. You can even destroy your own planes if it were tapped for mana, and then you still get the huge jump. Okay, you know what? And you get a poison counter, but like, most decks aren't trying to kill you with poison, so you can easily tap this for like 9 times and then exchange it. I don't know how we balance this. So like, at first I'm like, hey, this looks okay. Now I'm like, okay, this is broken. It's broken. Why? Lotus Veil sacks 2 lands and is better. So the idea here is that you could potentially destroy a land instead of sacrificing a land. Because when you sacrifice, you have to sacrifice a land. Whereas here, if we're destroying a land, if we try to destroy an indestructible land, nothing leaves the battlefield. Also, this doesn't come into play tapped, right? The Lotus Veil... oh, no, I'm thinking of the other Lotus. Lotus Field, not Lotus Veil. But Lotus Field comes into play tapped. Okay, you know what? You know what's a easy way to fix this, Benovsky? This card enters the battlefield tapped. That's it, and it's fixed. And case closed. We just have to give it that tap clause. If you want to have it untapped, then that's the problem. All right, moving on to the freebie section. James! This has got to be a reference to somebody's friend. Whose friend is this? The one management friend. Okay, black. Legendary Planeswalker. It's James. I don't get it. This templating is all backwards.
No, God, please, no.
Okay, for 0, put a level counter on James. Oh, it's not even a Planeswalker. It's a level up card. No, it is a Planeswalker. While being level. Okay, so it starts with 0. It starts off with not 0 loyalty, no loyalty. Okay, so I guess we put Planeswalker loyalty on it immediately. Level 2 to 3. +1. How do we even go up the levels? Well, no, put a level counter. Okay, I'm just gonna read this whole thing, then disqualify it because it's just too much nonsense. 2 to 3 +1. Each player discards a card. Put a level counter on James. Then I'm guessing it's like for 0, put a level counter and then 2 loyalty. Then if we do that twice, we get to level 2, and then we can put +1. Each player discards a card. Put a level counter on James. Level 4, -2. Put a creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. I mean, too much thinking for that one. I don't like it. Too much thinking. Next one, Elixir. Cold Feet. Anyone have cold feet out there? Is this literally cold feet? Oh, like I'd bet. Okay, this is not figuratively cold feet. It's literally cold feet. Blue instant. Return target creature or planeswalker to its owner's hand. Its controller adds an amount of colorless equal to that spell's mana value. Is this like some sort? Is this part of like the Mana Drain series or something? Is that a cycle that we didn't even know was a cycle? Your opponents can't cast spells with the same name as the return spell until end of turn. Interesting. So it's like unsung. Do you know what? Scrap the first paragraph. I love this idea. Your opponents can't cast spells with the same name as the return spell until end of turn. So it's almost like a submerge effect for like bounce spells are such trash by today's standards. Like they're so bad. And you know what? Denying the opponent from replaying the spell immediately that turn, I think is a way to actually push the power level of bounce spells, which I think at this point has been just completely rendered useless. Like they're so bad. So this is actually a really innovative way to basically buff them up. And you want to, its controller adds, so we return a creature or planeswalker back to their hand. Its controller adds an amount of colorless equal to that spell's mana value. I don't like the sound of that. Oh, I just realized we don't get that mana. Our opponent gets the mana. Yeah, it returns. Oh, it's a spell. Oh, it doesn't bounce it in play. Return to a creature or planeswalker spell. You gotta catch that stuff to its owner's hand. Now this completely okay. I still want this as a bounce spell. I like that idea. So basically you're saying, okay, you can't cast this, but you know what? You can cast something else with a bunch more like colorless mana. Well, I definitely think it's I think it is fair. I think this is gonna backfire on us horribly. I think we're just gonna give them a lot of mana and they're gonna play something else with it, especially the colorless stuff. Nova says, new to the rules to the stream is a $2 per card, and what the most we can do per stream? I know the description says 10 card limit, but is that total per stream or no? It's total for the whole stream. And yes, it's as of this stream, it is $2 per card. But I'm warning you, if this stream goes to like 2.5 hours, I'm jacking the price up to $5 a card. I'm warning everyone. These streams are they're too damn long. They're way too damn long. I can't believe how long these streams go. I have no idea how to restrict it anymore. It used to be like 20 cards per person, and like the stream just never ends below 2 hours. Okay, Misanthropy. This is a black instant. Exile target human. Really, I have nothing to say about that. Absolutely nothing. Okay, we got Megostera with the super chat. This card for the week is Zolani Bloodweaver. There are 2 cards, but only look the first one with lifelink. It's a better version. Just a reminder, everyone who has a big series of cards, we'll take a look at them after the sponsor segment. We will look at I look at every super chat every single week. Where is this it? I think this is it. I think I found it. You wanted to see the first one. Okay, let's take a look at the first one. This is Exolani Bloodweaver. It is a black-white 5 generic. 5 generic 5/5 vampire horror with lifelink. Now, if you would gain life, create that many blood tokens instead. Well, you love your blood tokens. We are an artifact machine at this point. Whenever another creature you control dies, you may sacrifice an amount of blood tokens equal to its mana value. If you do, return that creature back to the battlefield under its owner's control. It's back! Maybe better than ever. So basically, if we gain life, we convert life into the ability to reanimate creatures. But in advance, we need to first you gain the life, to then gain the blood tokens, and then you get the creature back. I think this is a really cool card. I think it's a very, very, very cool card. Jillian says, you play a creature, enemy counters it, you return it, then replay it? No, you can't. Oh, for that counter spell? No, you can't replay it. Not that turn. I said I missed AA Cards live again. You gotta be there every second Monday. Every second Monday. My coffee crew. Okay, next up, let's take a look at Will Anderson with the Back Meadow. Oh, whoops, this was... Okay, I'll look at this one right now, but I was supposed to go back to the freebie section. Just realized I was in a... I just realized that I was in the my Discord. Back Meadow, it's a land. If you would lose the game for having 0 or less life, you may sacrifice Back Meadow instead. If you do, your life total becomes 1, and you create a 0/1 white sheep creature token. End the turn. At the beginning of your next main phase... Why are we ending the turn here? So that means someone attacked, hit you, and it ended the turn? That seems very unfun for the person who kills you. At the beginning of your next main phase, add a white to your mana pool. Is that it? Interesting. So it's like, it's effectively like a worship. It's a worship on a land that you could reanimate over and over and over again. You ever think of it? It's like this plus Crucible Worlds. I don't know. I don't know about that one, Will Anderson. That seemed like a problem. It seemed like a big problem in my opinion. You like this one, the Jaded? I think this thing could be a catastrophe in my opinion, because if you think about it, this card, if you can reanimate it over and over and over again. I mean, okay, so there's still some ways you can lose. No, wait a minute. If you have 2 or less, if you have 0 or less life, I was thinking you could drain. I think it's better than Worship. So, we're not really. Okay, maybe I'm overthinking this. You can get bolted again. Might be broken somehow. Like, yeah, I'm thinking maybe it's broken somehow. Maybe it's not. So, like, the turn ends, and then on someone's next upkeep, someone bolts you to death, and then that's it. Then you're dead. It's probably not that hard. Or you can, like, even destroy the back meadow in advance with a wasteland or strip mine, and then go in for the attack. So there's probably multiple ways. Maybe it's good. Maybe, okay, maybe it's appropriate that this is a legendary card. So you can't have, like, a ton of back meadows on the battlefield, because that would be really frustrating. So I think the way to break this card is you have multiple back meadows. You somehow clone this card. Not sure. Honestly, not sure how to do that. Like in a regular game of Magic, this would be... Oh, it doesn't actually add mana by itself. So it actually is a cost. Maybe it's okay. Okay, I like the idea. The idea is there. I don't know if this is the final form that we can... feel safe with, but I think the idea is there. I don't think it is too supremely busted. Okay, so that's all I'm just gonna say. I can already see there's ways of playing around it, so it's got my blessing. Okay, next up, back to the freebie section. We got Decayed Monstrosity. This is a black 3/3 zombie horror with Decayed. Black 1 Monstrosity 3. This has 143 updoots. There's 143 updoots. Oh, it's a 1-mana 3/3. That's why this is getting so much attention. I was like, why the hell? This looks so generic and crappy, but you know what? For 1 mana, maybe it's not. So if the creature can't block and when it attacks, we have to sacrifice it. So it's essentially the black lightning bolt. But late game, you can go like make it monstrous. And so it's like, I don't know, black ball lightning? Because it's still going to sacrifice itself. Black ball lightning. Okay, I guess without trample, mind you. So you can just chump block it and then it dies afterwards. All right, I think that actually works. It's a very cool card. All right, next up. Nova, just in case you didn't know, we will do all the big series of Super Chats on the second half or the after-sponsored segment part of the show. Okay, next up, we get to Sebastian with the Archdemon's Pact. Check out the Archdemon's Pact. Maybe worded wrong, but you get the point. You wouldn't be the first person to have something worded wrong on this show, let me tell you. Okay, we have a white, black one, generic legendary enchantment. If a player would lose the game, that player wins the game instead. Oh, literally a card where you need to lose in order to win. This has got to be the thumbnail. That is such a thumbnail-like card. Okay, I gotta remember that one. If a player would win the game, that player loses the game instead. So okay, so now, like, how, generically speaking, how does someone who has no chance of losing the game win the game? Like, seriously. Like, I'm thinking of this as like a like, I got my Merfolk deck, and let's say you play this card. Like, what is my option to win the game? Try to draw all the cards in my deck in order to deck myself? That's the only thing I can think of. It becomes such a warped, because of that, this card's probably broken. This card triggers indefinitely. Absolutely. Yeah. It's not a trigger. It's just that if you would lose the game, you win instead. That's all. I think it's worded actually perfectly. Deal damage to yourself. Oh, you can't attack yourself. That's a problem. Everyone's like, attack me for the win, but no one wants to attack themselves. Triggers only once per player, but you would win at that point. So if, like, let's say I lose the game, I win. That's it. Like, I don't see how this is going to trigger multiple times. They win the game. Oh, I see. Hold on. What does lose the game refer to? Just losing in any way? Just pay life? I have no way to pay life with my Merfolk deck, J-Hogue. I have no way to do that. I play this card, then can see. Oh! Oh, you know what? Maybe, David, you might have broken it. You might have broken the card. And then we get into the game. Okay, I concede. No, in response, I concede. No, in response, I concede. And then, but then of course, you could have the rule. Imagine you roll up to the game and say, okay, rule 0, we conceding at sorcery speed, right? Right? Is that right? Yeah, so like if you could concede at any time. And then you lose the game, which in that case makes you win the game. Okay, so it's broken. Yeah, it's interesting. It's a funny card. The first to reach the abyss will keep its throne. Yeah, so I like... Give it cold feet. Cold feet only affects creatures and planeswalkers. You think conceding would supersede the card? Maybe it has to, I don't know any other way to word it. Or does it have to, how many lose the game cards are there? Where it specifically say target player loses the game. What is like 2? Because usually a card just says you win the game. Play this, reanimate Phage, profit. Yeah, well, anyway, I think it would, okay, so I think it would be better worded as if you would lose the game for having whatever 0 less life, blah blah blah, you win the game instead. Or if you would lose the game for having, if you would lose the game for having 0 less life or zero or having no cards left in your deck, you win the game instead. Something to that effect. It can't affect all the players. Otherwise, it's going to be a concede off. Everyone's going to try to concede in response. A player who concedes leaves the game immediately. That player loses the game. In other words, even if you control a can't lose the game effect like Leech's Mastery of Platinum Angel, you still lose. Well, conceding supersedes everything else. Beats Platinum Angel. I never thought about that. All right. Very, very thought-provoking card, though. Freebie section. The Beltor. It's a 5-mana 6/6 Ogre Warrior. Protection from lengthy spells and lengthy permanents. What is this, an uncard? What does lengthy mean? Whenever a player casts a lengthy spell, Beltor deals 6 damage to that spell's controller. A lengthy spell or permanent is one that has 25 or more words in the text. Yeah. Uncard! Should have silver border around it. Oh, hey, Elixir, what's up? Well, you would probably busted, but maybe not. Green Heart Tunnel. Let's go look at the Green Heart Tunnel. Cool. This is a it's a forest cave. This land is legendary. Just letting you know, if anyone makes a busted land, you might want to consider making it legendary. When it enters, an opponent gains control of it. Control of my land. Green creatures your opponents control have Forest Walk. I don't get it. Pay 3, tap. Green Heart Tunnel phases out. Tapped out of green mana. Creatures your opponents control. Oh, I get it. Okay, so we get the Forest Cave, and our opponents now have unblockable creatures. So this is basically just a land that says all your stuff, everybody's stuff is unblockable, but it only hits one person. Yeah, you give it to your opponent as your land drop for the turn. Maybe it's fair. Maybe it's fair. And that's really cute. You have this opportunity for the opponent to get rid of it. Pay 3, tap, it phases out. You can do that at instant speed. So you pass the turn. Oh, you want to attack me? All right, well, I will spend my mana this turn, phase it out, and then I can start blocking your dudes. Interesting. This is very interesting. And you have to give it away. It's pretty broken, should just be an enchantment. Well, the thing is, as a land, it soaks up your land drop. So you have to play it somewhat late in the game when your opponent is also going to have the mana to play the Green Heart Tunnel to phase out the Green Heart Tunnel. Not to mention, you might even ramp your opponent into a board wipe or something. You know, your help. Okay, I'm gonna sacrifice my 1 land drop for the turn to donate it to you. So I think it's interesting. I am a coffee drinker, Bounce. That's correct. That is correct. I'm also a tea drinker. Drink my coffee honestly in the morning. I am going to hesitantly say that this is a cool card. It could be you know what, Alexa, you're right. It could be broken. It's exactly what it could be. Back to the freebie section. We got the Sadistic Study. Is this the Black Ristic Study? Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, you may draw a card unless that player pays 1. Interesting. Okay. Very, very, very interesting. It's only creatures an opponent controls dies, not your own. So basically they have to pay 1 for each creature that dies, and then you can cash in on it. I think it was appropriate to make it 5 mana. Otherwise, if it was really early, let's say it was 3 mana. It's just easy to just dump this at 3 mana, and then you kill creatures on the opponent's board who cannot pay the mana. So it just turns every removal spell into card draw. Do you pay that? Well, probably you're killing creatures where they can't pay the 1, and that's the point. When it phases back, another person gets control. No, it's I don't think it doesn't ETB like that. It only exchanges control at ETB, the land. Just give them tokens and board. Hey, that's a strategy. That's a strategy. Make no mistake. Blasphemous. Well, I mean, I think it's okay. I don't know. I think this is a really cool card. I mean, I don't know if it's a good idea to add more Ristic Studies into this game, but Ristic Study for black, that's open design space. The study is too costly. Yeah, well, the downside where you want to have broken studies in the game, you want more actualistic studies, get out of here. Yeah, exactly. Phases don't trigger ETB vein. Correct, Amando. Okay, next we got, is this Zoro? Zoronoa! Zoro, King of Hell. Doesn't look like hell. This is a 3-mana 2/2 human warrior. It's got Bushido 1. And if it's Roronoa. Roronoa. Zoro, King of Hell, would enter a zone not chosen randomly. It enters a random zone instead. Why did this card seemed like a fine card until they had to put that damn crap at the end. He's lost again. Is this from some anime that I don't know about? I thought I know who Zoro is. Yeah, exactly. I'm with you, Eris. What is going? It's One Piece. I was about to say that. Like, it looked like the art from One Piece. Is One Piece worth watching? I'm a boomer. I'm a boomer looking to get it. Or how do I don't want to put it. Do Zoomers watch One Piece? Trying to get in, I don't want to be too aged around here. Nikachu been watching SpongeBob lately. Mr. Krabs. Mr. Krabs got to make that money. Now I know who Mr. Krabs is. Is this from AI card stream? No. This is you might think this is an AI generated Magic the Gathering card. No, a real human being made this. Yes, One Piece is worth watching, although some would argue you should read it. I'm not a reading person, as the pacing worsens towards the second half. One Piece is from the 90s? Oh my god. This is really old. Okay, well, okay, so for all I know, One Piece just sprang out of nowhere. Okay, so let's try to interpret this card for real. If it would enter a zone not chosen randomly. Okay, so if it enters the battlefield, it enters a random zone instead. But what the hell does that mean? So, like, what you mean? Like, the graveyard? If it would enter a zone... So if it enters the graveyard, like from my deck, we can just randomly put it in exile. If it enters zone, and then it's gone. He's lost again. Effectively, for 3 mana, we have no creature. So it's technically it's like technically legal, but it's absolute supreme garbage. Like, it's stone cold trash. 100% better to read than to watch One Piece. I don't read. It probably shows. You know, the reading I do is on this show right here. This is where the reading happens. Brawly Shadow, not the Brave. Is it with a double T? Let me look up the Brave. I have a feeling it's just... No, it was literally a double T. You double T'd it. Cross them T's, dotted them I's. 2 T's, in fact. Okay, this is a red-blue 2/2 Goblin Rogue with Skulk. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. And it's got Dash. It's got Skulk. This is, I mean, this is a Magic the Gathering card if I ever saw one. It's very Skulk it can't be blocked by creatures with greater power, if I remember correctly. So the 3 power, 4 power, 5 power creatures, get out of my way. I'm small. I'm slithery. I can weave between everybody's toes effectively. This is busted? How is this broken? Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. You do realize there are tons of cards out there that say, like, if you deal damage to the player, you just draw a card, like Biden of Thassa and Coastal Piracy, and I think Seafloor Oracle. So the fact that this is sort of on a 2-drop, I don't think changes much. And discarding then drawing is like way more fair than just drawing. It has Dash. I think Dash goes before Skulk, but it's okay. I would never, it's funny, Benovsky, I would never think of that. I don't know how they template these things. Isn't Dash at the bottom of Ragavan? This would be a lot worse if it was a 2/3, but at 2/2, it's fine. Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's Grizzly Bear. It's Grizzly Bear with upside. I like it. It's, I think this is I think this card is A-okay with me. All right. We're gonna look at more custom Magic the Gathering cards, but we gotta thank our sponsors today, starting with FusionGamingOnline.com. Deal of the week this week, save 15% off. I gotta fix myself over here. 15% off all cons of Tarkir block singles. Also, don't forget you can get your new cards at Duskmorn House of Horror. I'm gonna get my Flood Pits Drowner, can never remember that name, and Unable to Scream. I need those cards to upgrade my Pioneer deck. You need to upgrade your Pioneer, Standard, Commander, Modern decks. Maybe you want to get those cards at FusionGamingOnline.com. I'll tell you why. First off, you can get 5% off all your purchases at checkout with coupon code Nikachu. And then when you do that, you support the channel. So if you're ever looking to support the channel some way, get some cards, support the channel at the same time. And we're also going to thank Mana Traders, the premier place to rent Magic cards online for Magic Online, the digital platform. MTG Arena, you got to buy the cards and be stuck with them. On Magic the Gathering Online, you can rent the cards using the service Mana Traders. And then when you're done playing with those cards, playing with that deck, send them back. Get new cards to play another deck, another format. You could support the channel using my Mana Traders link in the description below, or save 10% off your first 2 months using coupon code Nikachu_QTP. And with that, it's time to check out some more wonderful custom Magic the Gathering cards. Okay, let's look at one more freebie. It is Withering Miasma. It is a black 2 generic enchantment. Whenever a creature attacks you or a planeswalker you control, put a -1/-1 counter on that creature. We be shrinking creatures around here. Whenever a creature attacks you or a planeswalker you control. Interesting. I think the price is right for 4 mana. And also it doesn't shrink all the creatures. It's just it's only the creatures that attack you or a planeswalker. Nola says, do you think that Wizards of the Coast will ever reprint the Doctor Who cards? Probably, but I bet it would not be with the Doctor Who names. It would be that like sort of Godzilla dual card effect. If I think they would do that. But I don't know. If they do, it'd be like deep into the future. Doctor Who just basically came out. Toski lets you draw for every creature. It's fine. Oh, yeah. The last one, totally fine. Okay. Yeah, I think, yeah. As Algot said, if so, it would be like universes within versions. Exactly. Okay, cool card. All right, time to take the big. We got tons of series here. A lot of people are very excited. Holy mo! We got billions of super chats. Billions. Okay, where do we start? Okay, let's start with, we're gonna start off with Winter Fox. Thank you so much for your ginormous super chat, Winter Fox. You've got Dream Mirror Series Part 4. Some other support lands and instants for the sets. I'm a huge fan of your aesthetic, Winter Fox. You like the colorless and you like the snow. No, there's like no color in these sets. Legendary mirror land called the Dream Mirror Gate. It's got Shroud because of course all your cards are untouchable. All Dream Mirror creatures and the mirror lands you control that have a reflection counter on them gain protection from planeswalkers. It's funny. I don't even know how that's necessary because a lot of your cards are designed with like Shroud and Hexproof and Indestructible as if like they can't be touched anyhow. So on top of all that, we now have protection from even be targeting, even if you think about it, as protection from you even thinking about doing anything with your cards. For 4 mana, tap, place 1 reflection counter on a mirror land you control, then mill 1 card from the top of your library. If a card milled by the prior effect is a mirror land, draw 1 card, otherwise you gain 3 life instead. Fortunately, you balance most of these cards. Oh yeah, this is a land. This is a land that doesn't add mana. To be honest, a lot of your cards look broken, but I have no idea how you cast anything. You like definitely need the Tron lands in your deck. David's like, Winter Fox just wants to play their cards, other the other players getting in the way. You know, I don't even know how any of these cards get cast. Okay, this is like another land. These are all lands that don't add mana. Okay, this is the Temple of the Frozen Mirrors. It's a Shroud legendary mirror land, so no one be strip mining my lands around here. Still missing protection from sacrifice. Don't worry, Winter Fox is working on it. Winter Fox is working on it. Reflective Land. This land comes into play tapped and with 3 reflection counters on it. All right. Which all remember? Oh, sorry. No, the reflection counters say non-land, non-dream mirror permanents with a reflection counter on it cannot be sacrificed and cannot be returned to hand. So that we got it completely nailed here. We do have protection from sacrifice. Anyway, pay 1, 2, or 3 life tap. Add snow colorless. Then place X reflection counters. Target. Place X reflection counters target permanent you control, where X is the amount of life you pay to activate this ability. Oh, I see. Okay, so this is actually a land that taps for mana, and then we pay 1, 2, or 3 life to put reflection counters on stuff. And then we got the Implausible Impossibilities for 4 mana. It's a Dream Mirror sorcery. Reflective Philosophy. If the target of this spell has a reflection counter on it, remove the brackets in the card. Oh, God. These cards are getting complicated. Target Dream Mirror creature you control gains +2/+0, and might as well also say and have haste and flying until end of turn. So you remove the brackets. Oh yeah, and then have haste and flying until the end of your next turn. We also have Picturesque. 1 second before tragedy. It's a Dream Mirror instant. Split second. Oh, we don't get to respond here. You can only cast this card during the main phase of target opponent's turn. Target opponent adds double colorless, then sacks a creature at random at the end of the turn. In the mirror, this card is useless. The owner of the sacrificed creature loses life equal to the creature's power and toughness combined. So we're going to give them, in their main phase, double colorless. Then they have to... It's basically a 3-mana edict. And it's a really restrained edict. The owner of the sacrificed creature loses life. I think this card is also incredibly fine. It's just a 3-mana edict, and you actually help your opponent. The only downside for the opponent is that they can't interact with it. You don't think that card's printable? I honestly don't even think it's that good. I think giving my opponent 2 mana in exchange for losing a creature. It's basically you're saying, okay, you ritual away like a creature into 2 colorless. And then Picturesque, Lost in Memory Lane. The 7 mana legendary Dream Mirror instant, also with split second. Lost in Nostalgia. Players cannot cast spells nor activate abilities until end of turn. And then exile old cards in the stack. Oh, it's almost like Mind Break Trap. You just don't think it's printable? The only things that are not printable are things that are straight up illegal. And everything in this series is perfectly legally fine. Okay, next up, let's take a look at probably half of half of the Nova Space Wolf. There's a message in the Discord under this tag to give some context. Lord of the Rings, LOR, Demacia, Foundations Set 1. Oh, you have a lot of them. You've been doing a lot. You've been working hard on this set. Okay, so we're gonna look at how it works is we usually look at 5 cards first, and then we look at another 5 cards later. So I don't look at a bunch of stuff at once. You got 10 cards here. You have more than 10 cards. We're gonna look at. You have some double cards here. Been watching the custom cards for a while now. Decided to try and port all the Legends of Runeterra cards into an MTG format while trying to keep the original flavor. I don't play so much MTG, so there are errors with wording and rarity and so on. Took me a week, but I finally finished the foundation set for Demacia. Let me know what you think. All right, oh God. Well, one thing is I don't play Runeterra, so I can't compare these cards. Let's see how the power level of these cards translate. Just a warning, like usually two-sided cards require it's like 2 cards in one basically. So I will treat them like 2 cards. Okay, we got Garen, the King's Sword. This is a 5-mana 5/5 human Demacian Knight. When Garen, the King's Sword, enters the battlefield, all other creatures you control gain +1/+1 until end of turn. At the beginning of your upkeep, if Garen, the King's Sword, has survived combat twice, then transform Garen, the King's Sword Into Garen, the Might of Demacia. This is a 6/6, so it has to live for a while. Yeah, I'm assuming it survived 2 turns. Or it could be 2 other people's turns. Yeah, I saw in multiplayers it could be, so in like what's it called? On other people's turns, I think that would count as 2 combats. So if you play this on your first main phase, go through a combat step, pass the turn, they go through a combat step. I'm assuming that's 2 combats, and then you just have to wait until what's it called? I think your upkeep, right? Yeah, at the beginning of your upkeep. Whereas if it's, I guess it's just like 1 turn. So you go through 1 combat on your turn, pass the turn, they have a combat, goes back to you. That's 2 combats as well. Unless you started playing this thing on your second main phase. Also unprintable, needs a license. Come on. Why do you gotta be a wet blanket, Eris? Why you gotta be a wet blanket? Like, people can post Star Wars cards if they want. Who is it? Brawly Shadow has been posting things from like Disney for forever. Okay, what's the second half? Enters the battlefield or is transformed. All other creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. Whenever Garen, the Might of Demacia, attacks for the first time each turn, untap all creatures you control. After this phase, there is an additional combat phase. After the combat damage step, if Garen, the Might of Demacia, is not taken lethal damage, then refresh. This creature's toughness is reset back to its maximum value. Oh, that was not necessary. So we have something in Magic called the cleanup step. So, like, let's say there's 5 damage on Garen. So what happens is it's always 6 toughness, but there's damage applied to it. So let's say it took 5 damage for the turn. It has 5 damage, but then at end of turn, the damage is just removed. And so it just has, it's 6 toughness with no damage on it. Interesting, because damage doesn't lower toughness. Yeah, in other games it does. In this one, it doesn't. So, I mean, that's a little awkward. So it's awkwardly worded. Otherwise, I think the power level is fine. There's nothing wrong with the power level of this card. Yeah, little... we are about to peer into the mind of someone who plays Legends of Runeterra, but not Magic. Okay, so now the next one is Judgment. For an insane 8 mana, we have an instant. Judgment can only be used during the combat phase after blockers have been declared. That's totally fine. Target creature strikes every enemy creature participating in the current combat phase. That is interesting. So basically, you could put it as like target creature deals damage equal to its power to each other creature. To every enemy creature participating like in the attack or defense, or like as you said, maybe the current combat phase. That is incredibly original. I like it. Refresh happens after combat, so before cleanup. Refresh. Oh, I see. But like, hold on, but you never reset the toughness in Magic. So you could say like remove all damage from a creature. Like after the combat step, that would be perfectly fine to say as well. Back to back. The name is a banger, I have to say. I like that name. 6 mana instant. 2 target creatures you control. Both creatures. You can just say target 2 creatures you control. Both creatures gain +3/+3 until end of turn. This is a very weak card, to be honest. This is insanely weak for Magic the Gathering. You would word it as 2 target creatures gain +3/+3 until end of turn. That's all. Garen gives 2 combat, so you would want to heal in between. Oh, I see. Okay. Gotcha. Deals damage equal to its power to all blocking, attacking creatures you don't control would probably be the best word. Yeah, something like that for that last card. Okay, we got the Battlesmith. This is a 2 mana 2/2 human Demacian. Is it Demacian? Demacian? I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Whenever a knight enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on it. This is actually insanely close to like a real Magic the Gathering card. It's incredibly close. In fact, like Wizards of the Coast could print a card like this in like a knight commander deck or something like that. completely viable. Nolan says, wait a minute, Giant Growth is no longer viable? For 6 mana, no. Absolutely not, Nolan. You want to play Giant Growth for 6 mana? I mean, it's 2 creatures, so effectively it's like 3 mana per creature. I don't think that's good value. I don't think that's good value at all. All right, we're going to go on to another super chatter, and we'll get back to your second half later in the show, Nova. Thanks so much for your super chat. Let us mix. Let's get Majra. Part 11 of the Sapta Cigaras, as of course. Part 11. It has 2 sagas, apparently. Okay, let's take a look at the 2 sagas. First up, we got Siren of the Rivers. Green, 1 generic, 2/2 Siren. Oh yeah, you've got your Siren thing going on here. Landfall. Whenever a land enters under your control, up to 1 target creature an opponent controls must attack next turn. Up to 1 target creature an opponent controls? Interesting. Can they attack you? Whenever a forest enters under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. I have to also say, that's very flavorful for Sirens. Sirens are like, you know, come this way. Come this way, sailor. This is Bristly Bill. Anyway, I think that is perfectly flavorful and perfectly fair. We got a saga. What kind of saga is this? It's got like 5 chapters on it. The day Leonora disappeared for 5 mana. Chapter 1, exile a creature you control with 4 time counters on it. It gains suspend. So it's basically a 5 mana like removal spell almost. Chapter 2, 3, and 4, investigate for each suspended cards you own in exile. So you get like a investigate token or a clue token. The first time a land enters the battlefield under your control this turn, draw a card, then create a map token. Why does that clause have to be in there? The first time a land enters the battlefield. So basically every turn we get a map and we're drawing an extra card. I can't say that's too broken. And then chapter 5, reveal the top 5 cards of your library. You may put a legendary card from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest into your graveyard. Put a legendary. So basically, if we stack our deck, but that's 5 turns away. That is totally fine. No, Lenora. We got to put Lenora on the milk cartons. Oh, it's the Sapta Cigara. It's a legendary. It happens to be a legendary enchantment. We always know it's the end of a giant series when like the name of the series is on the card. This has to be the end. We've reached the bottom. It is effectively either Sultai for 4 mana or 7 generic. It's a legendary enchantment. The first face down spell you cast each turn costs 1 less to cast. Then snare abilities you control cost 1 less to activate. And whenever a face down permanent enters the battlefield under your control, you may draw a card. Then you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. That is, it's probably a very strong card, but it gives me. There's a few like morph creature synergy. Gives me morph. There's some cards. What's that commander? You can like play morphs for free. And there's some enchantments, like when you play a morph, you draw a card. So it's giving me that synergy vibes. Yeah, we found it. Yeah, we actually found the Sapta Cigara. I don't know if it was lost. I don't know if it's like I don't know if it's like a Zuza, lost and found. Okay, we got the third clue. The Sapta Cigara. Blue, green. Chapter 1, investigate. Chapter 2, shuffle target non-land permanent into its owner's library. And also chapter 3, target creature explore thrice and also draw a card. That is a good card. I think that's a commander card if I've ever seen one before. It's got value written all over it. And we have another Siren. Looks like a merfolk. Trainer from the Corals. This is really bleeding. I don't even flavorfully know if this is a Siren anymore. It is a Demir green 2/2 Siren Scout with Persist. Whenever you turn a snare face up or cast a trap, create a 2/2 blue and green beast creature token with Island Walk. You get both. So when When a snare is turned face up, or if you cast a trap, you get a 2/2 blue-green beast creature token with Island Walk. I guess it's okay. Islarf is like, that's a Simic card. Yeah, that one. That's Simic if you ever saw one. Exploring and drawing cards and investigating. Well, I don't know about the investigating thing. Okay. Thanks so much for the series. These are all very real-looking cards. Next up, let's take a look at what else do we have on the we got Morbid Panda with Ravenloft set part 4. More control shenanigans. Yay. Let's go take a look at them control-y shenanigans. Who is this? This is Sidra, Dark Lord of Dementia Liu. A white, blue, 3 generic, 2/4 Spirit Noble. It's got flying in Ward 2. Counts as masked. When Sidra attacks, mask target creature. Yeah, what was your mask mechanic? To mask a creature, turn it face down. It becomes a 2/2 with indestructible. All right, a masked creature's controller may pay 4 at any time to turn it face up. But while you're masked, you're indestructible. I guess the problem is nobody knows who you are. What's the target? Or is it the enemy spotted? If a creature would be turned face up, exile it instead. Well, that defeats the purpose of this spell. Hold on, if a creature would be turned face up, exile it instead. This sounds like it hoses all the morph creature decks. It's like anti-morph. It's probably fine. Anti-morph around here. With the sirens are like mermaids. However, they are actual peoples like merfolk. Well, they're a little bit different, you know. Okay, next up, we've got Belle of the Ball. This is a 4-mana 3/3 human noble. Masquerade. During your turn, you may pay 3 and place this card face down as a masked creature. It's a 2/2 with indestructible. Turn it face up any time for 4 mana. Belle of the Ball counts as masked. Like it's masked, like whether it's face up or not. So it's what does that mean? It's face down as a masked creature. Turn it face up. Or is it just considered masked, but it's not indestructible anymore? It's only indestructible and it's face down as a 2/2. When Belle of the Ball is turned face up, create a 2/2 white noble creature token, and also masked creatures your opponents control must block Belle of the Ball if able. During your turn, you may pay 3. What does it mean, pay 3? Like pay 3 mana or 3 life, and place this card face down as a masked creature. I don't understand this first ability. I don't know if that's gonna work. It's like, okay, trust. Or are we gonna reveal this to everyone and then turn it face down? During your turn, you may pay 3. I don't even know what the 3 is. It's not like 3 not specified. Instructions unclear. The rest of it is fine. But this first ability, I just don't know how it works exactly. Like, and would everyone know what it does? Or like what it is? I mean, or it could be like Morph. It could be like Morph where you pay 3 life and then people just don't know if it is or is not Belle of the Ball until end of turn where you have to, sorry, not until at the end of the game where you have to reveal what your cards are. Wait, no, it's Belle of the Brawl. Well, she'd be gonna get into the red zone, that's for sure. Okay, the 3 Gabbles Hags. 9 mana for a 5/5 Hag Warlock. Vigilance Convoke. Creatures you control have tap, add 1. Spend this mana only to activate abilities of creatures. Non-masked creatures you control have pay 4, mask this creature. Okay, so non-masked creatures can now be masked. Masked creatures you control have pay 4, unmask this creature, it phases out. Okay, so we can our indestructible creatures, if they would somehow die, we can unmask them and then poof, they're gone. Well, it's expensive enough that I think it's fair. Oh, wait a minute. The creatures can pay for themselves though. Creature control have pay 1, tap, spend this mana only to activate abilities of creatures. It's like, are we just never going to be able to target any of this stuff? Weird. Okay. Preacher of Ezra. We have a blue-white 4 generic 3/3 human cleric. Protection from masked creatures. Oh, you have the answer to your own problems. Creatures cannot have counters placed on them. Creatures cannot have power greater than their base power. And permanents being turned face up do not trigger abilities. You hear that, Majra? This is a hate card to all your snares. Permanents being turned face up do not trigger abilities. Oh, it already countered your entire series with this one hate card. It's an interesting hate card. The Preacher of Ezra. Everyone hates the Preacher of Ezra. Masquerade Bouncers. This is they look like Jokers or the Jesters. 5 mana for a 4/5 human warrior noble. Also has Masquerade. During your turn, you may pay 3. Oh, okay. It's 3 mana. And play this card face down as a masked creature. So it's like Morph, basically. It's a 2/2 with Indestructible and pay 4 to unmask this creature. When Masquerade Bouncer enters or is turned face up, tap it and up to 2 other target creatures and put a stun counter on each of them, so it's really defensive. Other than that, it's just a 4/5 creature, so that's totally fine. So with all the knowledge that we have today, let's go back to Bell. So during your turn, you can pay 3 and place the card face down. So it's just like what's it called? It's just like Morph. It's Super Morph, effectively. Okay, nice series. Majra's like, yo, why are we printing these cards to beat us? Beat my series. Yeah, we got a metagame. Everyone's metagaming other people's custom cards. As funny as it is. Okay, Islarv says, let's chaz it up, baby. Whatever that means. 3, 5, 7, 10 is the order of the Yu-Gi-Oh cards. How you doing, Nikachu? Any news on that shuffle up and play appearance? I would not hold my breath, Islarf. Okay, hold on. What the hell is the card? Chaz it up? Okay, it is. 3, 5, 7, 10. The F does that mean? Is the order of the Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Oh, is this the first one? So I have to look at this one first? 3. I didn't know I have to look. Why don't you just post them in the order? Or is it like, does it like get posted randomly? Is the order the same as you think? So 3. There is no 7 on here. What makes it 3, 5? Oh, this is 3. This is a dino. 5. Oops. 7. 10. Okay, this is great. Everything is in order, as it should be. Start with this one, whatever the hell this is. It's got Big Eldrazi Dino Energy. I added the energy part. This is for some weird colorless green. What is it? Okay, it's 7 mana. It's an 8/7 Eldrazi dinosaur. Big Eldrazi Dino enters with a charge counter for each colorless spent to cast it, and a +1/+1 counter for each green spent to cast it. That is a really good mechanic. Other creatures you control get +X/+X for each charge counter on Big Eldrazi Dino above 4. Other creatures you control get Annihilator 1 if Big Eldrazi Dino has 10 or more charge counters on it. Oh, God.
No! God, please, no!
Well, I mean, yeah, so I suppose it doesn't have X on it. So what, like the most colorless that we can spend on this is 5. Basically. Failed Yu-Gi-Oh mechanics, the leveling system. Oh, is that what it is? Interesting. I think it's fine, though. Or is it? Hold on. For 5. How do we get other creatures get Annihilator 1 if Big Eldrazi Dino has 10 or more charge counters on it? So you can't get the 10 charge counters on it naturally because I can't sink more mana into this than the mana cost. So basically we've got to, yeah, we have to like doubling season. There are a lot of cards out there that adds charge counters to creatures that you control. So I could see that as well. So a little bit of a build around card. The Armed Dragon, level 3. The 2 mana, 2/1 dragon. That's a cheap dragon. Is that like the cheapest dragon in the game? I don't know if there's a dragon like below 4 mana. During your upkeep, you may sacrifice Armed Dragon. If you do, you may search your hand library for a creature card named Armed Dragon level 5 and put it onto the battlefield. If you search your library this way, shuffle. So okay, this is the good old Yu-Gi-Oh. Okay, I'm gonna use this card to look up this card to look up this card to look up this card mechanic. And we're gonna get the Armed Dragon for 4 mana. It's a 4/5 dragon. Discard a creature card. Destroy target creature with power less than or equal to the discarded card. That's insane. So basically, the card just says, for 0 mana, blow up people's creatures. At the beginning of the next end step, after Armed Dragon destroyed an opponent's creature as a result of combat damage, you may sacrifice it and search your hand library for a card named Armed Dragon level 7 put onto the battlefield. If you search your library this way, shuffle. This card is busted, as it is. That card is insane. So what? During upkeep, you may you just sacrifice this. At least the card put into hand. What does this one do? And put on this one tutors directly onto the battlefield. This one's way more busted. I mean, it's supremely broken. Armed Dragon level 7. 6 mana for an 8/8 dragon. If Armed Dragon level 7 would enter the battlefield other than from the ability of Armed Dragon level 5, exile it instead. That makes it even worse. So the only way you can use this card's ability is by cheating it in play. That's it. If you try to play fair with this card, no. Fair is not going to work around here. Discard a creature card. Destroy all creatures target opponent controls with power less than or equal to the discarded card. Are these really Yu-Gi-Oh cards? Black, black, red, red, 4 generic for a 10/10 dragon. If Armed Dragon level 10 would enter, if it wasn't... Oh, did I miss something on here? So how do we get to this one? So this is level 10. I don't even know why some of these have mana cost. Like, what is the point of having this thing that has a mana? What is the point of that thing having a 6 mana cost? Okay, so for 8 mana, we have a 10/10 dragon. If Armed Dragon level 10 would enter, if it wasn't cast, exile it instead. Okay, so this one, you have to cast it. You'd be cheating this card in play? That's not good either. These cards don't have any consistency. Armed Dragon level 10 can only be cast by sacrificing an Armed Dragon level 7 you control. Oh, it's a ritual. There's a ritual effect. You control rather than paying its mana cost. Oh god. Okay, so discard a card, destroy all creatures target player controls. The same thing. So this one is like destroy. They're basically doing the same thing. They're all broken. So you have to sacrifice. This card already looks very dangerous because it tutors into this thing, which tutors into this thing, which is enough to just win the game. So, very interesting cards. They're all broken, though. All incredibly, incredibly broken. Yeah, cheat into play, stifle, good to go. Well, not everyone has access to stifle, right? Not everybody. Okay, in between, let's give a dono to Pedgeman. Pedgeman loves the donos. Or I should say, well, Pedgeman does love the donos, but also Majra likes giving donos. I think I can probably just look by the first name. Okay, it is Siga, Unapologetic Villain. This card is black, black, blue, blue, a 2/5 Wizard Warlock, hexproof from mana value 2 or more. Only Fatal Pushes and Swords to Plowshares work around here. I think, is it Saiga or Sija? Let's say Sija. Can only be blocked by creatures with vigilance. That is really, really restrictive. Incredibly narrow for some dumb reason. Whenever Sija deals combat damage to a player, that player draws a card, then reveals their hand. You choose a card from it, exile that card. You may play that card for as long as it remains exiled, and mana of any type can be spent to cast it. That is a really incredible effect. That will really screw with a lot of players. How long can you do that? Exile the card. You may play that card for as long as it remains exiled. Oh, you can play for forever. So you're just constantly thought-seizing someone. It's really clunky. The card's really clunky. But basically has unblockable. Only gets blocked by creatures with vigilance. What's wrong with her right eye? She's winking, all right? She's winking. She's winking at you with that right eye. See, look. Yeah, that's my Siege of cosplay right there. Do I have a stick? Hold on, she has a stick. Here. This is my Siege of cosplay. I just need the blue hair. I have no blue hair. Alright, next up. The 4 Paths of Life, the Paradox World Part 1. Look what you did, Majra. Everyone has, like, series Part 1, Part 2. Majra started that. Definitely. Started a trend. You're a trend maker, Majra. Okay, this is Paradox Fields, Legendary Land. The active player adds white. What does that mean? The active player? So, like, whoever's turn it is? Because I think that the active player changes depending on, like, whose turn it is. And then tap, add a colorless. That mana must be spent before you can activate this ability. Again this turn? Why? Huh? Okay, so while tapped, if one or more white would be added to a player's mana pool by another differently named spell or card's ability, reduce that amount by 1 instead and untap Paradox Fields. This card makes no goddamn sense to me. This makes absolutely no sense. Okay, while tapped, if one or more whites would be added to a player's mana pool by another differently named spell or card's ability, reduce that amount by 1. What amounts? Like the mana? And then untap Paradox Fields? This card isn't worded properly. I don't know what it does, but yeah, it lives up to the name. Well, it's less of a paradox and more just confusion. That card has to be worded differently to make sense. Okay, the Abyssal Marinekin. This is a blue 2 generic 2/2 paradox shapeshifter. It's got Menace and Changeling. You hear that, Changeling? There's Changeling players around the world that are about to rejoice. Okay, it's got Doppelgang. For 2, tap, target a differently named creature. Abyssal Marinekin becomes a copy of that creature, except with both creatures' types and abilities, and with the same total number of kinds of counters on both creatures. So I'm guessing, hold on, so copy that creature, except with both creatures' types. I think what you mean is, like, copy the creature, or I think I know what you mean. Like, Abyssal Marinekin is still going to be itself. It's going to keep its abilities. It's going to keep Menace and Changeling, the Paradox Shapeshifter, but it also gains the abilities of the other card. And then next up, we've got Amorphous Geminikin. What the hell is going on in the picture here? It's like, it almost looks like a piece of tree, but there's some sort of animal stretched across it. It's a 4-mana 3/3 Paradox Shapeshifter. It's got Changeling, of course. Amorphous... I'm just going to call it the Amorphous Gem. Enters as a copy of another target creature. Also, it enters with the same number and kinds of counters on that creature and gains the following ability. Oh, I see. You want to copy the number of counters on it, too. Okay, I understand. Hold on, just going back. Was that clear here? Except with both creatures, types, and abilities, and with the same number and kinds of... I think you have to specifically say... you don't copy, you copy cards, but you don't copy counters, but you could say something to the effect and add counters to this card equal to the number of the kind and number of counters on the creature you're copying. Okay, so for Doppelgang, pay 2, tap, target a differently named creature. I think it's supposed to be worded like, target a creature not named Amorphous Geminikin. That's basically how it's supposed to be worded. This creature becomes a copy of that creature, except with both creature types and abilities, and with the same total number of kinds of counters on both creatures. Basically, you want to clone their stuff. Exactly how it works. Geminikin, that's how it's pronounced. Jiminy Jillikers, it's Geminikin. Okay, Ichoric Mutagenic. This is a 2-mana Paradox equipment. Oh no, the last Paradox card screwed my brain up. It scrambled it like scrambled eggs. Living weapon. Equipped creature gains changeling and the following ability. It also gets doppelgang, where you can copy the creature and the counters. And also, whenever the equipped creature becomes a copy of another creature, activate Echoric Mutagenic living weapon as if it entered the battlefield. Whenever the equipped creature becomes a copy of another creature, activate Echoric Mutagenic's living weapon as if it enters the battlefield. Hold on, if this is a living weapon, doesn't just die instantly, if I understand correctly? So if it's a living weapon and enters the battlefield as a 0/0 germ, and then it's dead. It was just born to die. Because all the living weapons say equipped creature gets so and so much power. Like it gets +1/+1 or something like that. If I understand correctly. Equipped creature gains changeling and the following ability, doppelgang. Target a differently named creature. So the living weapon doesn't make any sense on this card. Because it needs to like buff up the creature naturally. Whenever the equipped creature becomes a copy of another creature, activates. Like you could, you don't activate the living weapon. Living weapon just means when it enters the battlefield, it enters the battlefield equipped to a 0/0 germ token. I mean, I guess you could say whenever you whenever you copy another creature, Echoric Mutagenic like blinks, but still. This thing needs to make the germ bigger than a 0/0, otherwise it's like dead instantly. And then lastly, we got Devour class Sentient Amalgam, a 9-mana 6/6 Paradox Shapeshifter with Changeling. Pay 2, tap, declare a creature type. Each opponent attaches up to one creature they control of the declared type under Devour class Sentient Amalgam as if that creature has mutate. Oh my goodness! So it's like a gigantic, like, mutate thing. I don't know how that will work rules-wise, but I hope you figured it out. Each opponent attaches up to one creature they control. Can you have, like, 3? I can't remember how the mutate rules work. Can you have chains of mutated creatures? Because I usually never see it beyond 2. Like, 2 creatures are, like, mutated together, and then that's it. But maybe you can, like, mutate beyond that. All right, thanks so much for the super chat. Wait for part 2. Or we're going to see the sequel, huh? There's always a sequel with all of you. Oh, come on. There was someone who wanted a freebie. We usually don't do freebies, but there was a big donation for... Ron wanted a donated card. You had no card yet. Well, there's no such thing as no card yet on this show. But I'll tell you what. The Damn Draws had a big... Where's the Damn Draws? Gave a super huge donation. So thanks to the Damn Draws, I'll take a look at your card. What was it? Owen Bilson. Astounded Auditor. It's not even on here! Damn it. Okay, well, moving on. It's not... I can't even look it up. It doesn't even exist on the Discord. I have rules for how it works in the description. You can go check out the rules, so you can be part of the show. Because remember, there's a bunch of freebie super chats. Okay, I think we went through almost every one. Let's look at another one from Benovsky here. This is Paladin Genos. This dude's supposed to be the smartest ascended human in Paladin's lore. The smartest, huh? The smartest, the greatest. The most creative. Okay, Genos the Ascended. Blue 1/1. It's a demigod. It's flying and hexproof. I sort of like it. I like it already. It's a blue 1/1 that has evasion and you basically can't be killed. At the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal an enchantment card from among them and put it into your hand. Then put any number of them on the bottom of your library and the rest on top in any order. So at the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top 4 cards. Then put any number on the bottom. So this is like an impulse every single turn for enchantments. It's probably broken. That can't be right. That's too strong. It's like a 1/1. It's basically It's like a super search for his Kanta every single turn. We don't need badgers. I did not miss your super chat. You probably have a super chat in here. Where's your super chats? Oh, I didn't miss your super chat. I'll get to it actually next time. I've been trying to get to the smaller super chats here. Okay, I'll get your one next time. So this one, I think it's broken. You can't go that deep to look for an enchantment every single turn. I wouldn't mind if it was more like a Sensei's Divining Top, but hold on, what did this do? You just put it directly into your hand. If it looked at the top 4 cards of your library and you could reorder them, then that would be more fair, although it'd probably get banned for wasting time. But putting it directly into your hand, I think, is insane. Okay, the Penumbral Knowledge, a blue enchantment. When Penumbral Knowledge enters, draw a card for each opponent you have. Then each opponent exiles the top 3 cards of their library. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, that player returns a card exiled with Penumbral Knowledge to their owner's hand, then exiles the top card of their library. Each opponent skips their draw step. So we don't have any draw step anymore. So we each have 3 opponents. So when it enters the battlefield, we draw 3 cards. Then each opponent exiles the top 3 cards of their deck. So at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, their player returns a card exiled with Penumbral Knowledge to their hand, and then exiles the top card of their library. Oh, I see. Okay. So basically, we're exchanging our draw step with these cards exiled, effectively. There are a few cards like this, like, what's it called? Knowledge Pool? Knowledge Pool is, like, pretty similar to this thing, right? So I think this thing works. Okay, next up, let's take a look at We Done Need Badgers. I made 2 versions of the Shortinger's Paradox. Okay, well, I'm very interested to know what this one is all about. I'm going to try to look up Paradox, because I don't think I could spell Shortinger. Which one do you think is more interesting to play in Commander? Okay, this is version 1. Okay, I'll look at both. So this is the first one. Oops. Holy crap, that is an absolute banger art! That is insane! I love it. It has I don't know, it's got powerful Disney vibes. Okay, for 4 mana, it's a 1/1 cat. At the beginning of the end step, if Shortinger's Paradox is dead or in exile, returns to the battlefield under its owner's control. That's not really in the flavor of Shortinger's box. Yeah, it's super WR. I mean, it's a fine card, sure. But, like, I don't... At the beginning of the end step, if Shortinger's Paradox is dead or in exile... I think you should mean, like, it's in the graveyard. Return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. So it never dies, basically. If it's, like, gone, it always comes back. It's not really in the flavor of... I think it's fine. I mean, it's, like, it's basically a superior Squee Goblin Nabob, effectively. Okay, then we got Schrodinger's Paradox. It is a red-blue 0/0 cat. It can't attack, block, or be sacrificed. It is useless. Schrodinger's Paradox isn't put into a graveyard for having 0 or less toughness. Well, that sort of breaks the rules. If damage would be dealt to Schrodinger's Paradox, destroy it? Okay, if damage would be dealt to... What are we destroying? The damage or the Schrodinger's Paradox? When Schrodinger's Paradox dies... I don't even know how it dies! Or is put into exile, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. This card, like, breaks the rules too much. Like, it's basically like a rules... It's like a rules mess up. Schrodinger's Paradox, whenever you look at him, it's almost as if his height changes every time. It's possible. Okay, so if I were to choose which one would be, like, more legal in the game, this one. It's clean. Super clean. Even the art is clean. But it does make sense. So I would reword it, though. At the beginning of the end step, if Schrodinger's Paradox is in the graveyard or in exile, you can return it back to the battlefield under its owner's control instead. Or do you just... Sorry, not instead. It just comes back from the graveyard. Yeah, so this first one is, like Majra said, that we got... I think if we had a vote... 100% Schrodinger's Paradox, the version 1 would win the whole thing. Okay, next up. Ronell coming back. Okay, let's give Ronell something. Owen Bilson, Astounded Auditor. Did you post it this time? Owen Bilson. Oh, you did! It's basically Owen Wilson. Okay, what is this all about? Let's take a look. White, 1 generic for a 1/4 human auditor with menace. You cannot activate mana abilities of treasure tokens. Ugh, I'm sure this is from like a movie. I just don't know what the lore is here. Whenever a land enters under an opponent's control, that opponent may pay 1. If they do not, you may create a treasure token. But we don't get to activate the treasure tokens. It's like, why? And then sacrifice 10 treasures after this combat phase. There is another. Wow! Owen Bilson. So, no, it's like, wow. Yeah, wow. Wow. Does it come from this movie? I don't know where the wow comes from. Or does he say wow in every movie? Good afternoon, Timothy. Welcome. Does Owen Bilson say Bob instead of wow? Maybe it says bow. So you cannot activate mana abilities of treasure tokens. Why are we getting these treasure tokens? Okay, so I guess like if Owen Bilson dies, we have a bunch of treasures. So we get a second combat phase with this thing. Okay, cool. I actually think it's somewhat balanced in a way. Owen Wilson says wow every moment of his life. I guess that's the lore. Pretty much every movie. I have to look back on some movies to say, where did he say wow in this movie? It's like a Terminator. It's like an Arnold Schwarzenegger thing. I'll be back. But in case of Owen Wilson, wow. Wow around here. Okay, time to get through ginormous super chats. Winter Fox! Dream Mirror Series Part 5. 3 cards from set 2. Other interesting ones. What does this mean? 3 cards from set 2. Oh, you redid them. That's what you mean. Okay, the mausoleum Aurora Shroud. Huh? What's a mausoleum? You mean mausoleum? Anyway, it is a 4 mana Dream Mirror instant. It's got split second. Because again, nothing of Winter Fox's can be interacted with. Interaction not allowed around here. Cards in the graveyard have Shroud until the end of turn. All right, you can't target my stuff in my graveyard either. When Mausoleum Aurora Shroud is cast, it has Shroud in the name, is cast in response to a spell with Gravestorm, exile the stack. This is a highly, highly narrow card. How many Gravestorm cards are there? 2? I think there's only 2 Gravestorm cards in the game. Maybe 1, if I understand correctly. Winter Fox is prepared for everything. Okay, Dream Mirror Iridescent Lotus Spirit for 5 mana. It's a 0/10. Oh, there was a bingo sheet. I screwed that up. I totally forgot. Thanks for letting me know the damn draws. I don't want to waste it this far into this show. But I believe there was a bingo sheet. Sorry about that, Ferginka. We just remembered Ferginka is this far into the show. Okay, Defender Ward 3. Tap, add 1 mana of any color, including snow and colorless. If you spend this mana to cast a non-Dream Mirror spell or to activate a non-Dream Mirror creature ability, exile the top 3 cards of your library, then immediately end your turn. Oh god, we're getting punished here. This is like a giant wall. I mean, I understand it has Defender. It's Defender and Ward. And it basically does, and it's a really weird mana dork. You forgot to make a bingo card as well? Yeah, rip. Does anyone make their own bingo cards to see if they work? I didn't know that might have been a thing. Soliloquy Naturius Alchemist. It is a colorless snow 3 generic X01 Dream Mirror Sage. Now that's the Winter Fox card I remember. It's always a 0/1 indestructible for a ton of mana. Opus Magnum. This creature enters the battlefield with X Philosopher's Stone counters on it. Is this I think this is a reference to Harry Potter, where X is the X paid. If a card you control is the target of an effect, you can remove one Philosopher's Stone counter from this card. Choose another card on the field as the target. If a card you control is the target of an effect. That's so Yu-Gi-Oh! Like. We don't use that word. We don't use those words in Magic the Gathering. How many Yu-Gi-Oh! Players do we have around here? Is anyone even a Magic the Gathering player? I'm just starting to think, maybe you're all Yu-Gi-Oh! Players submitting these cards. We don't have anywhere to submit these cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! So we'll just go to this Magic channel. Submit them here. David says, Philosopher's Stone predates Harry. Oh, okay, interesting. I do not know the lore to the Philosopher's Stone. It is an alchemical ideal that would allow transmutation of other materials to gold and silver. Okay, so if a card you control is the target of an effect, you can remove one Philosopher's Stone counter from this card. Choose another card on the field as the target. Okay, so we were just redirecting things. That sounds evil, but probably legal. Okay, transformed Seraphic Beyonder. So for colorless, white, 12 mana. This is 17 mana. It's a Beyonder Seraphim. 7/12. Ward. No one's paying this. Ward 3, white, and a colorless. Flying. Paranoia. Creatures that block, except transformed Seraphic Beyonder, have -1/-1. And cumulative upkeep 2. When transformed Seraphic Beyonder enters the battlefield, exile all non-creature, non-land permanents, then exile lands up to the number of cards exiled by the prior effect. Like, well, I mean, I'm only going to say this passes because it's 17 mana. What do you want? 17 mana can do anything it wants. For a 17 mana, each card can have its own party. Majra, live, do you count reformed Yu-Gi-Oh! Players? Oh, you mean like you're all reformed Yu-Gi-Oh! Players in some way? To be honest, sometimes just an effect linguistically makes things simpler. It makes things simpler, but not really in Magic. Like, you got to be a little bit more specific. Like, what does effect mean? So every effect has like a specific name, and some effect, like, you can't say everything is an effect either. Some of you might say, oh, if it got blown up by a Wrath of God, that's an effect. Well, not in Magic. That is a completely different thing. Okay, it is okay. We have the Dark Side Extortionist for black, blue, white. So 9 mana, 1/1 Soul Merchant Leech, hexproof, indestructible, death touch. When Dark Side Extortionist enters the battlefield, all players sacrifice creatures they control except Dark Side Extortionist. Then create X01 Soulfire creature tokens named Shimmering Soul with sacrifice Shimmering Soul. Tap at a black, white, or colorless, where X is the number of creatures sacrificed by the prior effect. Winter Fox, have you ever like submitted these cards on the custom card Discord? I should read the comments someday on sorry, not the custom card Reddit. I should read the comments to some cards there someday. Okay, Nova Space Wolf. It's time for the second half of your series. I bet you were waiting all day for this. The Legends of Runeterra. The Legends of Runeterra are back. And it looks like you're going to be here for a very long time, because I can see you have made multiple sets. We have billions of sets, in fact. Okay, this is just the first one. This is set 1, for crying out loud. Oops! I got rid of... How can I undo that? Can I undo that? I can't undo that. Okay, I gotta remember, Dadam Draws donated 20. I meant to close this one. Oh, you guys don't know. I can clear super chats from my end. Okay. Don't worry, Dadam Draws. Let's not forget Dadam Draws' gigantic donation. Okay, well, we looked at that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this one's next. The Bright Steel Formation. This is for 9 mana. A 9/9 human Damascian Knight When Bright Steel formation enters the battlefield or attacks, give all allied creatures a shield counter until end of turn. What is all allied shield counters? You mean like all our creatures? What's considered an ally? Other than that, the card makes a whole lot of sense. Nova says, for the future, I wasn't aware that double-faced cards counted as 2, and all my posts are groups of 10. So do you want me to do 22 to cover the other side, or should I repost the sets? Oh, you mean you have one double-faced card? I think it'll be fine. You can sneak in that one. If it's only one per set, I think it'll be okay. I'll look at all your cards. Don't worry about it. If that's going to be the case. Okay, next up, we've got Chain Vest. I have to say, you're templating these cards pretty well. You template them pretty well. Like, they read mostly like regular Magic cards. So, Chain Vest, white mana, instant, target creature gains, absorb 1. I swear that's a real mechanic, though. If a source would deal damage to that creature, prevent 1 of that damage. This card is actually really bad. Like, there are so many cards out there that are just better than this. Like Healing Salve, for example. Healing Salve will do this times 3. This is only 1. Very underpowered. We got Cythria of Cloud Field. It's literally a grizzly bear. Oh, not until end of turn. Absorb is a real mechanic. Okay, hold on, let's go to this back one. Is this perpetually? If a source would deal damage to that creature, prevent 1 of that damage. Oh, you're right, actually. So maybe this is better than... It's different than Healing Salve. It's different. Okay, this card, it passes, but it's quite boring. It must be for flavor. Cythria the Bold. It is a white 3 generic 6/6 human Damascian Knight. When Cythria the Bold attacks, is this the same Cythria from before? Is this like the story? Oh, this is Cythria. This is the Cythria the Nothing. All right, everyone was picking on Cythria. You're gonna be nothing when you grow up, but Cythria proved them wrong. Says Cythria became bold. And when Cythria the Bold attacks, give other allied creatures +1/+1 and fearsome. I think what you mean is give all other creatures you control +1/+1 and fearsome. Creatures with fearsome cannot be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. Cool. I feel like that is a mechanic, or I feel like that is not a mechanic, but it's like a mechanic of Magic the Gathering, but it just has absolutely no name. Cythria, this is another... Oh, no, this is Dauntless Vanguard. I swear there's a real card like that. There's got to be. There's got to be a card called Dauntless Vanguard. No, there isn't. Okay, I thought there was. It sounds so much like a real Magic card. 3 mana, 3/3. Another incredibly underwhelming card. But now maybe the Vanguard grew up. Can't tell if this is the same person. This is a white Dawn Speakers, a 1/4 human Damascian. At the beginning of your end step, if a non-token creature you control died this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on each other creature you control. A non-token creature you control died this turn. That 100%. That is a cool mechanic. Basically, if something's dead, you're going to buff up your entire field. It actually is giving me zombie vibes. Feels exactly like something a zombie would do. There is a Dauntless Bodyguard. Oh, that's probably what I was thinking of. There's a lot of Vanguards, a lot of Dauntless cards. I was just like mixing them together. There is a real MTG keyword similar to Fearsome, but it's a test keyword. All cards I could find specifically just type out. Yeah, they type out the effect because I think they don't want to give a keyword specifically to a certain power and toughness. They wanted to make it more flexible. I have to say, Nova, easily you can just donate the regular amount because you have a lot of cards that say nothing. So I can just easily move on to the next one. Oh, so this is the next set. All right, I guess we see that next time. Thanks so much. Thanks so much, Nova, the Space Wolf, for your wonderful set. And welcome to the custom card crew. Enjoy it before I jack up the price. How are we doing on time? 1 hour, 34 minutes? Terrible. We're doing terrible. Let's take a look at some of the small super chats so people aren't waiting for forever. Let's take a look at Arethusa. I'm going to take a break with some tiny super chats. Messing with empathy again. Temporary. Not for forever. It's an Orzhov. Instant. Kicker of a white or a black. Target creature gains empathy 3 until end of turn. If the white kicker cost was paid, you gain 2 life. If the black kicker cost was paid, target opponent loses 2 life. Whenever you gain life, put 3 +1/+1 counters on it. Whenever you lose life, put 3 -1/-1 counters on it. The hell is... Oh, I see. So empathy 3 is just like if you gain the life, buff it up. If you lose life, you shrink the thing. Okay. That is very... I don't know if that is entirely clear. I think what you actually have to word, how you want to word it is like, whenever you gain life, put counters on target creature equal to the empathy cost or whatever. Or whenever you lose life, when you put -1/-1 counters on the creature equal. Like I don't know how to make this not clunky, but like it's not really. I know what you mean with this mechanic, but it just doesn't feel like that's what it's actually saying here in the reminder text. But it's a cool idea. So basically, 1 mana, give a creature -3/-3. Take a look at one from Surefire Selves. The Royal Repositories. Very, very royal around here. Hold on to your money. Yeah, I try to do that. We got a 4-mana enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, you become the Monarch. At the beginning of the Monarch's end step, that player creates 3 treasure tokens. Oh my god, this is really the rich get richer around here. Let's see, hold on. Okay, whenever a creature deals combat damage to a player, its controller gains control of all treasures that player controls. I never like those mechanics like this, the way it's worded here, because the thing is, in response to that ability, you can just sack all the treasures, right? So like you never really get the treasures. Players can activate abilities of treasures only during their own. Oh, I see. Players can activate abilities. Okay, so you actually you fixed it. You fixed it right at the end. Sometimes I should read the whole card before I say anything about the card. Interesting. So you could pass the turn. It might still be safe to like sack all your treasures so that nobody gets it. Either way, I think this can be playable. It's a Modern Horizons card, apparently. Yeah, you thought about it. You did think about it. You thought about it ahead of time. Can only resign at sorcery speed. Also can only activate treasures during their own turns. Cool card. All right, back to the series. We got Majra. The second half, or sorry, part 12. Did we do this one? Hold on. I can't. I think I did. I thought I did both of yours. Part 12. No, we didn't do this one. All right. For that, we're gonna give you a super chat sound effect. All right, part 12 of this thing. Okay, Treasure of the Sapta Sagara. It is a blue-green-black kindred artifact god. How is it a god? It's an artifact. It doesn't even have power and toughness. Well, I guess there's like there are enchantment gods, but they also can turn into a creature. So this god can tap to be added for a mana of any color. If a permanent being turned face up causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. So to bring, oh yeah, okay. So like we're now doubling the amount of what's it called? Of your snares, basically. It's a kindred artifact for gods? I suppose so. And here we got the snare. We got turn into a moonstone, a blue 1 generic artifact snare for a blue. When turn into moonstone. So for anyone that doesn't know, you can play these things face down. Like how much? What was the mana cost? I think 2. I think it was 2 or 3. Just like morph cards. Okay. Anyway, when turn into moonstone enters or is turned face up, turn target non-land permanent face down. It becomes a colorless artifact named Moonstone. Then sacrifice turn into Moonstone. It's 2 mana? Okay, 2 mana. Not like Morph. Not so expensive. Underwater District! I love... Oh, you can fetch this out? It's an island. Underwater District enters tapped unless you reveal a siren from your hand. That is good design space. That was a good idea. So you basically have a Sultai land. It's like a super underground sea, tropical island, and bayou all in one, so long as you can show a siren from your hand. I think when it enters the battlefield tapped, you may reveal a siren from... It probably has to be worded, when it enters the battlefield, reveal a siren from your hand. Otherwise, Underwater District becomes tapped or something like that. Otherwise, I don't know what the window is to show the siren. Underwater Lair for 5 mana. It's also a snare. Snare for a green and a blue. Enters or is turned face up. Create a 3/3 blue and green fish creature token for each snare you cast or turn face up and each trap you cast this turn. Then sacrifice Underwater Snare. Okay, we got a 3/3 fish. For each snare you cast or turn face up, and each trap you cast this turn, then sacrifice Underwater Lair. How does this card work? I don't get this. Let's say it enters the battlefield or turns face up. We create a 3/3 blue and green fish creature token for each snare you cast or turn face up and each trap you cast this turn. Then sacrifice Underwater Lair. The problem is I lose this thing immediately. So what? This is just for... You can't? So what is this, just for flavor or something? Snare Storm? Yeah, so anyway, I don't understand... Okay, like... I don't understand the purpose of this card, then. What, like, why? It's like, if it enters the battlefield, you die, and it does nothing. I don't know. It seems uninteresting. Snare Storm? Enters whenever Underwater Lair enters or is turned face up. Okay, what, like... So, are you telling me, like, with this on the stack, I, like, then play the snare cost to all my other cards to get, like, all this value? Is that what you're trying to tell me? I mean, I guess that's a line. It's so weird, though. Okay, and last, Verge of the Sapta Sagara. This is also a land that enters tapped. Tap for a colorless. Pay 2, tap, sacrifice Verge of Sapta Sagara. Search your library for a forest card and a swamp card. Put them onto the battlefield tapped and then shuffle. This is very innovative space. Basically, it's like ramp for anyone. I don't even know what... Oh, it's library and a swamp card. That's why you have colors on it. It's basically a colorless card, though. You know, it's a colorless card. You get a fish for each snare you turned face up or cast. But you got to do it within the window. So you basically pay the snare cost on this, enters, and it triggers that create a 3/3 blue and green fish creature token. It's like this enters or is turned face up. The trigger will go on the stack. And then create a 3/3 blue and green fish creature token for each snare you cast or turn face up. And then each trap you cast this turn. So basically, I have to now, with this trigger on the stack, play as many snares as possible to get 3/3 blue and green fish creature tokens, because this is going to get sacrificed. Because this is, you have like this really short window to do anything. But I get it, because it's not like a static thing on the battlefield. Each snare and trap cast this turn. You turn it up last after... Oh! And enters or turn face up. Create a 3/3 for each snare you cast or turn face up. Okay, do you know what? Reading the card explains the card. I missed that part. Okay, so basically you played a bunch of snares and and then you do this at the end and get a bunch of value. So okay, so it is like Snare Storm. I missed how you're trying to make this thing work. All right, then that's fine. That is perfectly fine. Thanks very much for your series, Majra. Okay, next up we got Morbid Panda. Very, 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 very morbid. Raven Loft Set Part 5. New plane, zombies and assassins. This is zombie? Where's the zombies? Oh, here's the zombies. Okay. We have Ramya. This looks like a Yu-Gi-Oh card. We got a lot of words on this one. You can get the full $4, your full $2 per card here. Okay, or £2. Some of you donated in pounds. And euros. We got euros here. What's the conversion on all these things? Hold on, like what's 2 USD in pounds? Well, it's cheaper in pounds, that's for sure. 2 USD in euros. Close enough. The dollar is the strongest. Or no, it's not the strongest. Hold on. £2 in USD. Oh, sorry, all of them are stronger. I'm actually making bank here. Yes, donate in pounds and euros. I got the USD all backwards. Okay, Ramya, Dark Lord of Kalakari. 5 mana for a 3/5 human knight. Menace, first strike. Illusionary Disguise. When Ramya, Dark Lord of Kalakari isn't on the battlefield, it is a 2/2 zombie and loses all other creature types. Ah, it's a zombie now. Yeah, I get some Danish krona too. We get to see where everyone's from based on like what currency they donate in. Sacrifice 3 other creatures, destroy target legendary creature, draw a card, and create a 1/1 black skeleton creature token. You lose 3 life. It seems a bit unfair for you to be sacking 3 creatures and then you get a creature out of it. So I don't really like that effect, because then you can just keep looping this crap over and over and over again. 5 mana, return Ramya, Dark Lord of Kalakari from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate only if you control a zombie. As first strike, when it is on the battlefield, it's a 2/2 zombie. It loses all other creature types, so it is in the graveyard. I would say dump this 1/1 black skeleton thing, because it keeps saying you sacrifice 3 other creatures. You'll just keep looping this thing for, I mean, maybe not for forever, because you do lose the 3 life, I suppose. Okay, so it might be fair. It might be fair, but it also might be broken as hell. Okay, we got Arijani and Riva Traitors. It is a 6 mana 4/4 cat dog noble. It would be great in that Rin and Siri deck. When I guess Rin and Siri can't be the commander. And it can't, I don't know who's the commander in this deck, because we need to somehow make this like 4 colors, I guess. Okay, anyway, when Arijani and Riva enter or attack, choose one. Create a 1/1 black assassin with death touch. And then exile the top card of target opponent's library face down. You may play that card for as long as it remains exiled. Whenever an assassin you control deals combat damage to a player, create a treasure token. And sacrifice 2 other creatures. Arijani and Riva gain indestructible until end of turn. Tap it. No one ever wants to build cards with a weakness. It's like, my creature cannot die no matter what. It is completely indestructible. Come at me as you will, but it will never succeed. Yeah, sacrifice 2 other creatures. I guess like everything was fine up until that point. Now I don't know if it's too strong. It is 6 mana though. Jess says 306 Kuwaiti diner is 1,000 USD. Wow. Strong dollar. The Thunder Junction Rakdos has a tapped to be indestructible ability. No, but does it also have all this other stuff? Like create a one whenever it enters or attacks, you make a 1/1 black assassin and exile the top cards and play them, and then make treasure tokens. I'm gonna put my trust. It's not too broken, but it's like these are like I don't know. I don't remember who also posted cards like this, but they're like everything was like pretty. I think it's like actually these are old Majra cards where like everything on it was like pretty pushed, but not outright insanely broken, but like really, really, really insanely strong. Okay, 5 mana for a 1/1 instant. Until end of turn, target creature you control gains. When this creature dies, return it to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control. When that creature returns this way, destroy up to 2 target legendary creatures. That's interesting. Why is this a 1/1 instant? That doesn't make any sense. Templating wrong, but card is fine otherwise. Okay, the Loyalist of Ramya. This is a 4 mana 2/2 zombie knight with menace and death touch. Pay 2. Return Loyalist of Ramya from the graveyard to the battlefield. Activate only if Loyalist of Ramya was sacrificed this turn. This is actually a really underpowered card of all these cards. Like, okay, so some of these cards are in busted, and then some of these cards are very, very underwhelming. Menace and Death Touch, and then if it got sacked, you can pay 2 to bring it back. Yeah, that's totally fine. Wondering like how you can like even put you probably could cast this for probably for 3 mana. This is all fine. Like it's not. This is a really niche narrow ability for it to be sacrificed. It had to be sacrificed, not die, destroyed, or exiled, or anything like that. Or not exiled. It goes to the graveyard, but it had to have been sacrificed that turn. Trader's Assassin for 3 mana, 1/1 zombie assassin. Trader's Assassin can't be blocked. When Trader's Assassin deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of that player's library. You may cast that card until end of turn, and mana of any color may be spent to cast it. 3 mana regenerate, Trader's Assassin. It's so similar to something they might have printed like, I don't know, 20 years ago. Thank you so much for your, for the card submissions. Okay, let's see who else can we get here. Let's get one from Elixir. From the Danish I guess this is Danish Krona. Kurg. Stratagem expert. Is this from a movie or something? Okay, we got a red, green, blue 2/2 ogre shaman. Counter target spell you control. If you do, draw a card. So you want to counter your own spell. Basically, it turns everything into sort of cycling. Well, it's a very expensive cycling at that rate. Pay a red, change a target of target spell you control. What is the point of this? I don't get it. Pay a green, exile target spell you control. Put X +1/+1 counters on Kurg, where X is the mana value of that spell. Like that, I understand. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, I understand. Oh, this card could be completely goated. So let's say I target something with a spell, and then someone else is like, okay, in response, I'm going to give my creature hexproof. Then I'd be like, okay, now I'm going to pay a red and change the target of the spell to something else so that it doesn't get wasted on that creature. That is very clever. That is very clever. I don't know how we can like take advantage of countering our own spells to draw a card. I guess we can like cycle them if they're dead late in the game. Like I don't need this Soul Ring on turn 20. All right, I'm gonna cast it and counter it and cash in. Okay, this is a really cool card. It's very original too. Supremely original. Let's get one from Darkstar Ashura. Maiga, the greedy one. Maiga the Greedy One. It's a dragon for 7 mana. It's a 6/5 dragon. Flying. Sack a treasure. Maiga the dragon gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Eating the treasure. Don't eat your money. Whenever Maiga the Greedy One or another dragon you control deals combat damage to a player, create that many tapped treasure tokens. No dragon you control deals create that many. That's a lot of treasures. Holy crap. Maiga the dragon gonna be big. Big, super fast. I guess it's Smog. Oh, is it the Smog art? Sacrifice your treasure. Gets +1/+0. Greedy one or another dragon you control deals combat damage to a player. Create that many. Well, I mean, at least it's a card that like wins the game. It's like a win condition. Okay, now what's next? We have Darkstar Ashura actually has a... Oh, you had a whole set around here. My draft sets court cycle. This is the post name. That's what I would assume. My draft set... You have a lot of my draft sets. Court cycle. All right, let's take a look at this cycle. Darkstar Ashura. We got the Court of Order. This is a white, 2 generic enchantment. When Court of Order enters, you become the monarch. Creatures the monarch controls have lifelink. Whenever you gain life, create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. If you're the monarch, instead create 2 1/1 white spirit creature tokens with flying. So you become a monarch for 5 mana. Creatures the monarch control have lifelink. This seems like really strong. I mean, you know, like I say strong, like it's like a good draft or a really good commander card. Court of Visions, the 5 mana enchantment enters. You also become the monarch. So we have a monarch series here. Whenever the monarch casts their first spell each turn, they scry 2. If each turn, so on your turn, on everyone's turn. Oh, this is supposed to be for like only draft though. If you would scry a number of cards, scry that many cards +1 instead. What's the point of this? If you're the monarch, instead scry that many cards +1, then draw a card. That's insane. So it's basically you cast a spell, you draw a card and scry 3. That's this card is insane. I'm pretty sure this might even see competitive play, like in standard or something. I think it's quite strong. We're not done. Not even the closest. Not even the slightest. No, we heard that song before. Okay, I'm gonna move on. I have nothing else to say. That card looks way too much. Court of Despair, 5 mana enchantment. When Court of Despair enters, you become the monarch, and at the beginning of the monarch's end step, if a creature they control died this turn, each of their opponents loses 2 life, and you gain 2 life. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, create a 1/1 black skeleton creature token with menace. If you're the monarch, instead create 2 1/1 black skeleton creature tokens with menace. That seems perfectly fine. I hope I'm not overrating this card. This just sounds like it's on. Maybe it's too hard to like play, but I just imagine whenever it goes off, it like really goes off. The Court of Blades, 5 mana. ETB, you're the monarch. Creatures the monarch control get +2/+0 and have haste. Holy crap! This card, things are coming out fast and they're coming out big. Whenever a creature enters under your control, it gets +0/+1 until end of turn. If you're the monarch, instead lethal damage dealt to it this turn is determined by its power rather than its toughness. You want to see my cat? My cat's not around. Probably sleeping somewhere. And last, we got the Court of Growth. 5 mana enchantment. When it enters, you become the monarch. The monarch may play additional lands each of their turns. Landfall. Whenever a land enters under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. If you're the monarch, instead distribute 2 +1/+1 counters on up to 2 target creatures you control. This whole series is very interesting. I just don't know the power level of the blue and red ones are the best ones, and everything else is definitely fair. Notice all of them benefit the monarch, of course, not just you. So if an opponent steals monarch, it benefits them. Absolutely. Steal the monarch. Basically, it's a rich get richer type of mechanic. Okay, all we have is a bunch of... we have a bunch of bonus cards in the end, thanks to Islarf and the damn draws. Okay, so let's get a super chat for... I guess this is a donation from Majra. Reason. So Majra's donating for the people can't donate themselves. And this one's also from from Pedgeman. Reason, Inaba of the Moon. 4 mana, 4/4 Rabbit Moonfolk Soldier. Reason has hexproof as long as you discarded a card this turn. Cards you cast from exile cost 1 less to cast for each card you discarded this turn. Whenever you cast a card from exile, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. And it's a 4/4. Has hexproof as long as you discarded a card this turn. See, I like the, what's it called? I like the clause. Like, Pedgeman makes it hard for you to protect your creature. Cards you cast from exile cost 1 less. That's highly specific. Oh, no, sorry, it's not. There's a lot of red cards that will exile cards, and then you can cast them from exile. Whenever you cast a card from exile, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. Okay, I like it. I like every inch of this card. Every text. Okay, next up, we're gonna get one from. Let's get one from Bryce. I don't know if Bryce has gotten a single super chat today. Forbidden Pathways. You spelled forbidden wrong. Or did you not? Hold on, how do we spell forbidden? Is it double B? I don't think so. It doesn't exist. Pathways? What if I look up pathways? Maybe pathway? Forbidden? How do I look this up? It's not coming up. Forbidden knowledge. Forbidden pathway, maybe? Bryce, what's your card? Okay, I'm gonna move on. Bryce, if you can tell me what your card is, I'll look it up. But like, I can't find forbidden pathways. It doesn't exist. Forbidden pathways. Just one more time. Yeah, it doesn't come up. Okay, we'll look at one from Surefire Selves. Gamble with Chance. You like minigames. Do you own a Shahrazad? Okay, it is a 4-mana enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, each player shuffles their library and then exiles the top card of their library face down. Each player may pay any amount of life. Then turn all cards exiled with Gamble with Chance face up. Until end of turn, each player may play cards turned face up this way with mana value less than or equal to the amount of life they paid without paying their mana cost, as though they had flash. This is a very creative card. Yeah, I like this card. So you give yourself you'd be like, okay, this is really great card in my deck. It could be 8 mana though, so I got to pay 9 mana. And then you turn it up to see what you get for free. Okay, next up, we're gonna look at another one from Darkstar Shiro. We got Titanic Steward. I should just look up Titanic. How many Titanics are there? Titanic Steward. 8 mana for an 8/8 giant knight. It's got flash and assist. Another player can pay up to 6 of this spell's mana cost. Vigilance. When Titanic Steward enters, counter target spell. It does a lot, to be honest. At the beginning of your next main phase, add an amount of colorless equal to that spell's mana value. Mana drain the creature. That's what this card is. Mana drain in sentient form. Where's the Titanic sound effect? Well, it's not quite like it's usually reserved for bad cards. This is a very good card. Doesn't even look like the Titanic. Disappointed that Titanic Steward isn't a waiter on a sinking ship. Yeah, that's what it sounds like, doesn't it? Complete flavor fail. Flavor fail all around. Okay, next up, let's go to Majra with the Toyo Himi. This is also a donation. Toyo Hime, Goddess of Possibilities. Another one for Pedgeman. You and Pedgeman are tight. You together forever. Okay, we got, what the hell is this abomination of a mana cost? Selesnya Gruul Rakdos Demir Azorius. For a 5/5 god ward, you cannot cast non-creature spells until the end step of your next turn. That is highly original. A highly original ward. Okay, you can try to kill this thing, but then you ain't casting anything from for like 2 turn cycles. If you would choose a number of mode while casting a modal spell, you may choose one or more instead. You can't use the same mode more than once this way. Oh, that's also incredibly original. Okay, so basically it turns modal spells into cryptic command. Or if it's cryptic command, super cryptic command. Excellent card. Very original ward, too. Tiohimi, goddess of possibilities. The possibilities are endless. Next up. Let's go with Rob with the time turtle. What the hell is this? Okay, I'm breaking out. I don't know if it's good or bad. I'm breaking out the Titanic sound effect anyway. Blue, blue, green, green, green for the time map of Cassiopeia. World enchantment. Put a clock counter into play set to 1. Increase clock by 1 during upkeep. Sacrifice after 12. Yeah, this is exactly what an old templated card would say. Permanents enter with delay 1. Phase them out, then they enter tapped during an opponent's next upkeep. If the clock reads 1 to 4, players draw an extra card and may play an extra land card on their turns. If the clock reads 5 to 8, during players' combat phases, they may blink target creature, then tap up to 3 target creatures. If the clock reads 9 to 11, during players' upkeeps, they may put 2 creature cards from their hand into play. If the clock reads 12, draw half your library rounded down. Time map deals 10 damage to any target. The slower we go, the faster we are. This is too word. Honestly, this is just too many words. There's a problem with this card. This is one of those moments where I say less is more. Less is more. The less words, the more interesting that they are. I see your mechanic. Probably the mechanics got to be cleaned up with, like, you do get a clock counter when it comes into play. Set to 1, increase clock. I think you just put a clock counter on the card when it enters the battlefield, and every upkeep you put another clock counter on it. And then you just say, if there are 4 or less clock counters, it gets this ability. If there are 8 or less, between, I guess it's like 5 to 8 counters. It's a very wordy, super wordy card. Or you have to, like, knock off some other abilities on this thing. Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Text. Okay, Bryce fixed their super chat. So, okay, let's look at the forbidden pathways. There we go. Forbidden pathway. It is a forest swamp. So it's a bayou. Whenever Forbidden Pathway enters the battlefield, sacrifice unless you tap an artifact or land you control. Oh, so it's you're just trying to find a way to, like, reprint the reserve list. That's 100% possible. You've done it. Yeah, it's just like it's a watered down bayou, or it's another bayou for anyone that already owns it. So yeah, that's definitely doable. And Noel is just like, I just tuned in and bam, wallet text. Absolutely. Oh, the last card could be a saga. You're right, Kenzie. Actually, that could be the case. It might clean the thing up. Although that would be a very long oh yeah. How would that work? Oh, that would be a very long saga with 12 chapters on it. Maybe it won't work. Okay, Elixir, what do you got for us? Rao Mulch. Grinning Executioner. Is this too much or too little? Find out in a minute. Black for a 2/2 human warrior. Tap, destroy target creature you control, then return it to the battlefield. No, I think it's just right. I think this is a great idea. Destroy target creature you control. So I guess you want death triggers, ETBs, and so on. I think you can get it with this. I don't know. Does anyone know how to break this card? I don't see any way to break this card. Destroy target creature you control, then return it to the battlefield. Oh, you're blinking it. That's basically what it is. You're blink. Yeah, it's black blink. But the disadvantage is your opponents could interact with it if you try to blink it. Like when you actually blink something, there's like the only window to interact is you kill it. Whereas here, you have the option to kill the thing that you're targeting, but you can also try to exile it when it hits the graveyard, and then it just doesn't come back. Or actually, it probably should be worded: destroy target creature you control. That creature gains, or it's I see target creature gains when this creature is destroyed. Or sorry, when this creature dies, return it back to the battlefield under your control. Destroy target creature. I don't know how to word this thing. But there probably needs to be some like room to interact with it, or maybe I don't know, maybe not, maybe you don't. Maybe if there's like a rest in peace, that's enough, or if there's like a Graph Digger's Cage, that's enough to stop it. It allows to keep control of gain control until end of turn. It doesn't say return to who, controller or owner. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, you probably should specify that. Probably gets returned to the owner. Also triggers cards that do something when they die. Absolutely. Well, that's how I originally looked at this card. It probably needs to be a little reworded, but I like the idea. I like where it's going. Darkstar Ashura, the Tome of the Forbidden Knowledge. What knowledge is forbidden? Sorry, Tome of Forbidden Knowledge. Okay, Tome of Forbidden Knowledge. It's a 3-mana artifact. When Tome of Forbidden Knowledge enters, if it was cast, target teammate creates a token that's a copy of it. Tapped at a colorless. Also, pay 2 life. Target teammate draws a card. So this is basically for like what, Two-Headed Giant or something. Target teammate creates a token of it. You will make a teammate, or I think you already need teammates here. What formats let you have a teammate? So basically, it's like a mana rock. It's like one of those crappy mana rocks at 3 mana, except that you and your teammate both get them. Two-Headed Giant tech. All right, that's cool. Corbinek. Coil, Fate Definer. Coil, Fate Definer. Okay, we got a red, black, 3/4 legendary creature, parahuman. If you would flip a coin, choose heads or tails, and activate the corresponding effect. Again, people who use... We don't use that word in Magic! We don't have effects. Basically, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Players, they reveal themselves. Or, I don't know, maybe other TCGs also use that word. Okay, if you flip... If you're going to be flipping a coin, you choose heads or tails, and then activate the corresponding effect. This effect activates only once a turn. If you would roll a die, choose odd or even, then keep rolling the die until you get a result that is what you choose. What? If you would roll a die, if you roll 50-50, try 100%. If you would roll a die, choose odd or even or odd, then keep rolling the die until you get the result you basically, we're cheating here. Darkstar Shura. Anyways, my dad's home, so I'm gonna say hi and then head out. Take care, Darkstar Shura. Have a good evening. Yeah, the Yu-Gi-Oh player is really outing themselves. They are absolutely outing themselves around here. Yeah, there's not a single time. I mean, maybe the word effect is used somewhere, but not like this. Corbinek is like, I don't play Yu-Gi-Oh. Then where did you learn the corresponding effect? This effect only affect this once a turn. I don't understand how this card works. If you would flip a coin, choose heads or tails, and activate the corresponding effect. I honestly have no idea what this card's trying to do. I understand in the end, if you would roll a die, choose odd or even, then keep rolling the dice until you get the result that you want, which is like, I think, oh, I see. Like, if you would flip a coin, choose heads or tails. No, I don't get this. What I do understand is you want to like roll the die as many times until you win, because you want to win. Also, most cards state if heads, then or tails to do this. I don't get this card. And keep rolling. Like, I don't understand. Yeah, like, so instead of flipping coins, you just pick the result. Yeah, but basically we are just doing whatever we want. I think what it really should, it's like a really clunky way of saying, if you would flip a coin or roll a die, if you do not get the result that you chose, just get that result. Something to that effect. Because this is like a really clunky way of saying that. This is just way too wordy for what we want. Roll the dice until you get an even or odd number. If you would roll a dice, then keep rolling until you get the result that you choose. Well, no, yeah, but like, why are we saying all this? Like, what's the sole purpose? In the end, what we want is the result that we want. We're just gonna keep rolling until we get what we want around here. Nolan says, what are your thoughts about Yu-Gi-Oh! Nikachu? There's a TCG based on YouTube now. It is weird. A TCG based on YouTube? That's weird. I think Yu-Gi-Oh! As a card game, I'm not gonna play it. Yu-Gi-Oh! As an anime, it's absolute banger. Absolute banger. Great idea. Wizards should steal everything that they can from that. Okay, first off, we have a huge super chat from Dedam Draws. 10 freebies. I'm gonna get all these freebies from the freebie section. Because it's just easier to get through, and I don't want... The show is late. The show is late. Leyline of Leylines. It is a 4-mana enchantment. If Leyline of Leylines is your opening hand, you may begin the game with it on the battlefield. Leyline of Leylines is all colors. You may cast cards with, if this card is in your starting hand, you may begin with it on the battlefield without paying their mana cost. What an absolute riot of a card. It's basically, okay, your Leylines are free now. Sure. The Leyline deck. If you didn't get to play it for free at the beginning of the game, you can play it for free in the middle of the game. Okay, the Spike Team, the 3-mana 3/3 plant mercenary. Trample. If this creature would deal combat damage to a player planeswalker, it deals double that damage instead. If this creature doesn't that just mean as double strike? Isn't that just like a weird way of saying double strike? It deals double that damage instead. So I don't... Okay, like, the card is fine. But, like, I don't know why they have to reinvent double strike. We, like, double damage done dirt cheap? I don't know the advantage of doing it this way. Pedgeman says, Wizards tried to steal from them. It's called Dual Master and ended up becoming its own game. Oh, interesting. I'll have to... I think I heard about that, but I have to look it up. Doesn't do double damage to creatures. Creature would deal damage to a player. Oh, I see. That's the point. Okay. In combat, we're all equal. But when I hit a planeswalker or a player, their flesh is softer for some reason. Zalfirin Savannah. Now, it is a forest plains that you can fetch from your deck. Enters phased out if it's your first turn. Interesting. Second or third turn of the game. Okay, this is another original way to try to get around the reserve list. What was lost can be found again. Okay, next up, we got Evolution Sage. This is a green 2 generic 3/2 elf druid. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, proliferate. It danger. I think this thing is... I don't know if it's insane, but that sounds very rude. I just play a land, I proliferate, I crack the fetch land, I proliferate. This card's awful. Oh yeah, I think... Oh, Evolution Sage, I believe, also is a real card. So the name also gets disqualified. Yeah, I think it danger and the name is stolen from a real card. I don't know, it sounds like too much to me. Or this card needs to be like way more expensive, like 5 or 6 mana. The Thing. Ooh, that's disgusting. It is for 5 mana, a 0/0 shapeshifter spawn. You may have the Thing enter as a copy of any creature on the battlefield. If you do, destroy target creature that has the same name as the Thing. Oh, interesting. We have the real imposter around here. Removal and clone. Is this the first card that does this? Now I'm just thinking, or what was no, there was another clone that was like copy target creature and like evil clone or evil twin, and then you could kill the original, but that was the closest. I'm very surprised that we don't have a clone like this. That's just 5 mana, destroy this thing, and I copy your thing. I think this is really cool. I think this card's really cool. Okay, we got the Lost in Smoke. It's a blue 1 generic instant. Exile target permanent. That sounds rude. Return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. So it's a sort of weird blue temporary boomerang stone rain. Return that. So exile target permanent. It's basically some sort of white flicker wisp. Sorry, blue flicker wisp. So in that case, I think it's okay. I think. Maybe it's very rude to put this on a, what's it called? Isochron Scepter. Screw with other people's Isochron Scepters. The Isochron Scepter Breaker. You're about to be lost in smoke around here. That's what Evolution Sage does? No way. It proliferates? 3 mana. This is actually just a real card. I am an idiot. Whenever a land enters the battle, this is just all a real card. Well, it looks like it's played. It's not like it's like it goes for about like $2.50. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control. Okay, I disqualified a real card. Sorry about that. That's very funny. That was actually a real card. Okay, thanks for letting me know. Disqualified a real card around here. What do I know? I guess the card is not too broken. It just proves to show that us Magic players, sometimes we exaggerate the power level of cards. We exaggerate. The Book of True Names. It's a 4 mana legendary artifact. As the Book of True Names enters, choose a number from 1 to 10. Perms you control, spells you control, and cards you own that aren't on the battlefield have mana value equal to the chosen number. They have mana value. So that is weird. The Book of True Names. Choose 1 to 10. So I can say all my cards are like 9 mana. So they don't get hit by like, what's it called? Engineered explosives or something. Custom bingo. Nikachu disqualifies a real card. Absolutely. Absolutely, Jess. Yeah. That's got to be a really hard square to hit, though. It's got to be one of those, like, second from the bottom or the top squares. This is like the second time I've done this. Happens every so often. Okay. Yeah, I guess so. Okay, you got it. The Book of True Names. We got the Mounted Samurai. Does it have Bushido? It does. Does it have flanking? It also has flanking. Okay, we have a red-white 2/2 Human Knight Samurai. Oh, it just has flanking Bushido 1. So whenever a creature without flanking blocks it, gets -1/-1 until end of turn. And also has Bushido, where whenever a creature blocks or becomes blocked, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. So it gets bigger. It gets bigger while your opponent's stuff gets smaller. Are there any cards like this? I'm surprised these two mechanics didn't like combine at some point in the game. I think it's a flavorful combination. Anything you can do, I can do better. It's a red-blue instant. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 2. If they do, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. So I will do it better than you, because I'm going to copy it. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 2. So it's basically a miscalculation. If they do copy that spell. Oh, I see. Okay, so if you copy that spell, sorry, if you pay the cost to keep your spell, I get to copy it. And if you have a counter spell, then if you have a counter spell, then I'm gonna get a copy of your counter spell and counter your thing anyway. Steve Cooper says, "May steal a dono. I have a cycle of cards that are basically the same." Yes, you may steal a dono. Okay, you want Geyser Cycle version 1. Cycle. I'll give you 5. Okay, hold on. Let's see. Let's look at a few of these. Okay, Geyser Cycle version 1. It's 3 mana for an artifact. I guess I can look. They're all probably the same, right? It's Unity Geyser. You may spend green mana or blue mana as though it were white mana? So basically, this is for a 3-color deck. You may spend green or blue mana as though it were white mana. I don't know why you would want this, though. You spend green mana? Oh, so all your green mana or blue mana on the battlefield can be used for white. It's a really weird way to fix the colors in your deck. And Unity Geyser is the Simic one. Or I should say, white. This is the Bant one. Then we have Enlightened Geyser is the Esper one. Ambitious Geyser is the Grixis one. Passionate Geyser is the Jund one. And then we got the Mighty Geyser is the Naya one. Interesting. Yeah, huge color fixing cycle. That also taps and adds mana. Okay, and then we've got Islarf with another generous donation. Bonus cards, bonus cards. It's not your thing, right? Bonus card. I'm assuming these are all donations, but maybe you actually meant bonus card. No, you did actually. Oh, I'm sorry, Islarf. My apologies. Islarf, you waited for forever for nothing. When you said bonus cards, bonus cards, bonus cards, I thought you meant that this was going to be a donation. Oh, I'm sorry, Islarf. Islarf waits to the very, very end of the show to see their cards. We got the Penguin Soldier. This is a Yu-Gi-Oh card, right? Blue Penguin Soldier, 1/2 morph for a blue. When Penguin Soldier is flipped face up, if it is blocking or being blocked, return 2 target creatures to their owner's hand. Oh, alrighty then. We got another Yu-Gi-Oh card. The Trishula of the Ice Barrier. For 7 mana, this is a 7/7 dragon. But is it a Blue Eyes White dragon? When Trish enters the battlefield, exile up to 1 target creature an opponent controls, up to 1 target card in their graveyard, and they exile a card at random from their hand. Reminds me of like an ultimatum. Then if you cast Trish from your hand, do the same for each other opponent. If Trish becomes the target of a spell or ability, destroy Trish unless you discard a card. I actually think this is quite underwhelming for this mana cost. It is basically like a super Reflector Mage in some capacity. Or I don't know, a super Solitude, I suppose. Yeah, maybe it's closer to Solitude. Sometimes I can't tell the difference between your AI shows and custom shows. You're not wrong. At this point, you're not wrong. Is Islarf still here? Okay, we got the Lost Blade of the God Slayer. It's a 0 mana artifact equipment. Equipped creature gains haste, +20/+20, and gains protection from everything. Equipped for 0. That is absolutely... That's very big. Equipped creature gets haste, +20/+20, and gains protection from everything. Hold on. This is broken. This is absolutely insane. What am I looking? It's for 0 mana. You equip for absolutely 0. So, this is insane. Okay, the first 2 were actually relatively balanced. This last one just went off the charts. It went off the Richter scale. It danger times 20, basically. It's actually better than Progenitus because of the, what's it called? Because it actually gains haste. Should be called the Lost Blade of the Progenitus Slayer. Or I guess, is Progenitus a god? Or this, I'm not sure. Silver border this card now. It's not really silver border quality. Silver border is like stuff that does jank. Okay, we got the Sagsin's Crystal. It's a 3-mana artifact. When it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Tap, add 1 mana of any color. This mana can't be spent to cast creature spells that aren't the chosen type. Creature spells of the chosen type cast this way cost 2 more to target. This is a Yu-Gi-Oh card. 3-mana artifact. When Sagin's Crystal enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Okay, let's say Merfolk. Add 1 mana of any color. This mana can't be spent. Ooh, you're Canadian Islarf, or you're British. One of those two. Only they would use the CO, or I guess European. Maybe everyone in Europe uses the UK version of spelling color. Okay, add 1 mana of any color. This mana can't be spent to cast creature spells that aren't the chosen type. Okay, so okay, I think it should be worded: add 1 mana of any color. This mana can only be spent to cast cards of the chosen type. It's really confusing to say you can't use this mana on the creature spell that isn't of the type. It's just weird. Creature spells of the chosen type cast this way cost 2 more to target. That's fine. And then we got the Aven Mind Crusher. It's gonna crush your mind. 3 mana, 2/3 Bird Wizard with Flash. If an opponent searches their library, if they fail to find, they may have Aven Mind Crusher deal 5 damage to them, or you may search your library for a basic land card and put it into play. That's hilarious. So we now basically punish people. We punish anybody who is failing to find around here. So if you're going to be cheesy with your deck, like, oh, I failed to find. I mean, there are situations where you have to fail to find because, I don't know, like someone plays, what is that? White instant speed board wipe for all attacking creatures, exile them, and your opponent searches their library for that many basic land cards and put them onto the battlefield. Settle the Wreckage. So let's say you play Settle the Wreckage. You will fail to find because, like, if your opponent plays Settle the Wreckage enough, then, like, yeah, you don't get it. If your opponent plays Settle the Wreckage on too many creatures, more than you have basics, then you will fail to find those basics. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. All right, thank you very, very much, Islar. Very sorry. I'm gonna have to apologize to you in the Discord. But the problem is you called your post bonus cards. So I interpreted that as a donation. And I feel Islarf was asking me earlier, when is the show? I always miss it. Well, at least Islarf got this donation in, so I'll let Islarf know to check the end of the show to see the series. And we have one extra stray super chat here. Mika's Mischief. Mika's Mischief in your Discord. We got a blue. I can't read the flavor text. It could be swearing at me. It's a blue instant. Rearrange the stack. Draw a card. Is this legal? Is this legal? I'm just thinking, like, how do you rearrange the stack? I guess it's possible. Pay a blue. This goes on the stack. Then when it resolves, so okay, you play Mika's Mischief in response to like a big stack. It resolves. You just like swap everything around. Basically, a blue mana tutor. No, it doesn't tutor for anything. You rearrange. You're rearranging. No. When it means the stack, it's not you're stacking your deck. It's talking about the stack. Like, I play a spell. I play a spell in response. In response. I also play a spell in response. That's the stack. And then you can reorder everything that's on the stack how it resolves. Well, it can't be that broken. How often is there a big stack where it would even matter? Yeah, this is a silver border card. That looks like very it has very much silver border vibes. Anyway, thank you very much for the donation. And that's it. All right, that's it for the show. Thank you very much, everyone who showed up and donated and was also part of this show. If you want to be part of this show, you got to be here 3 p.m. 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. And as usual, if you want to, I thank you very much to everyone who's a patron and supporter of the show. If you're a member on YouTube, and everyone who super chats to be part of the show, and or super chats so other people are part of the show. And thank you very much to the coffee crew who are here every single day. People like Pedgeman, Benjamin Berkeley. We got Lily. Islarf, we got Hollow, Tom Squires, Steve Cooper, Jess, Winter Fox, because you guys are the crew. Thanks to everyone who submitted cards today. And as usual, my coffee crew, keep brewing up them cards and we'll keep brewing up the magic. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you at the next cup.